Hello, everybody. Welcome to TCL Season 8. My name is Toasty TG. Alongside me, we have AI Box for this absolutely classic bout between our wonderful contestants of tonight, the Snake Oil Salesmen versus Team Shai Halud and AI Box. Let me tell you what, man. If there's one team that I'm pretty sure is going to be the Lisa Agaib, it's going to be this one.
Oh man, Toasty bringing it in hot. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, Snake Oil Salesman had some really good looks during the last series that we saw them in, especially when you consider. I think they're trying to finally figure out what their comfort zone is, figure out what their comp is going to end up being. But meanwhile, Team Shai Halud coming off a loss, but still can never count this team out. TCL is a very strong team, and look for them to bounce back.
Absolutely. I mean, like we said, AI Box, it is TCL, right?
Yeah,
And we have a lot of different meta shifts that have been happening within the past couple of weeks, especially in that fabled AD carry position, which you and I both know we are very knowledgeable in. So I'm pretty excited to see how the bot lane's going to shake up, especially after the couple of nerfs that happened to Caitlyn, a couple of buffs to
yep,
Ezreal. Just a pretty standard stuff all across the board. I do know we have seen Corki as we get into pick ban phase here. We already get the Kale right off of the
yep,
back. Uh,
naturally.
Definitely a pickup ban here for Lyle Walt, someone who has
Yeah.
definitely picked up the Kale in previous matches.
We saw him really carry on the Kale in the last two games of the previous series, and I think they just don't want to give him access to that champion that not only has the ability to still kind of survive in some cases, kind of really have a strong lane, but really take over that mid to late game as we've seen him do, um, and as well as the Aurelion Soul going over. That's a Sandy target, but meanwhile the classic control ban. There goes that LeBlanc.
Right. And like you said, right, Lyle Walt being a very incredibly strong player, definitely one of the better top laners in TCL Season 8. Uh, I've seen a lot of power rankings. A lot of people have put him either first or second. So getting off these carry picks here, we do have the Nocturne, the Karthus, and the LeBlanc to follow from the side of our boys over at Team Shai Halud. Going to be the first pick here. I would imagine it's probably going to be a bot laner, but actually instead could be a Galio pickup. I actually like this adaptation
Not
here
bad. Yeah.
from the side of Team Shai Halud.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is that they have kind of realized a lot of what their win condition is going to end up being, and that's kind of what their games have come through is through that top lane. So they want to give themselves a chance to have a little bit more draft flexibility, and at the same time, they know that Old Greg's gonna be very very comfortable on this Galio pick, so it's a safe pickup.
Absolutely. Really like this adaptation here. The Thresh, the blind pick Thresh actually here coming in for I believe it's Old
Oh, I'm
Man
sorry. Yes, so
Greg.
yeah, that's my bad. That's a Clover pick. Also very very comfortable for him as well. Definitely nothing that's too crazy. Yeah.
So the question really remains here, what is on the side of oh, this is a Clover pick. Okay. Are
Yes. Yeah.
the
Yeah. And then the Threshes for the Old Greg.
Got it. Okay. Just making sure that we're actually using a different tool here. We're using the Pro Draft tool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of TCL players have all the champions available to them, so sometimes we like to use this as an alternative to make the players comfortable in pick ban phase. Zeri going to be picked up here. This is one of those champions that I have been personally enjoying AI Box. I know that you two are a Zeri enjoyer sometimes. Definitely been in some TCL ARAM customs where we've made this pick pop off. Zeri looking very strong here on the current patch with the Static Shiv Rush build. Also has been prevalent in pro play as well. So very exciting pickup here for the side of the Snake Oil Salesman.
Yeah,
Gonna
it's
have to
something
see
we've
if they're
seen Boobly play a couple of times now, and it's something that I think it gives him a lot of escapability. It gives him a lot of move speed to be able to kind of dance around the fight. I think one of their major concerns is just making sure that he is able to participate in these team fights, and I think Zeri kind of gives him that champion that allows him to do so. But kind of interestingly, on the other side, we see the jazz music Trundle coming through. That's what we saw them pick up a game against TCL in very interesting fashion through a backdoor with this Trundle, just basically taking the entire base as TCL was just sitting in the enemy team's base, just not sure what's going on. And so I
right.
think they're kind of hoping a similar thing. They get a lot of side lane strength. They get a lot of split push ability with this Trundle. So that's kind of definitely what we're seeing there.
Yeah, definitely like that. The Zac coming out as well for the jungle here for the side of Tiny Rick. We all know Tiny Rick has been that classic Zac merchant here in TCL for the past couple of seasons. So good to see him back on that champion. The Camille obviously going to be taken away here from the side of Lyle Walt once again. A lot of target
Yep.
bans here on the top side. Volley, Camille, and Kale now gone. Master Yi, that is obviously a nod as well to Coach.
Hmm.
one of the better Yi players that we've seen here as well in TCL, and the
And there's
Hui
the way.
pickup.
Yeah.
Yep, the Hui Banaway, excuse me, once again. So very interesting draft adaptations from these past couple of weeks. The Ashe pick as well, just wanted to kind of brush up on that matchup here a little bit. Very good for the push. Sounds like they're going to be playing towards bot side for sure. Kind of let Lyle Walt do his own thing as the Urgot ban comes through as well. So Lyle Walt kind of pinched here on the champion pool here. Very excited to see how he's going to be able to make this work.
Exactly. I think one of the interesting things is how the teams are going to play through this early game. Traditionally, we've seen a lot of importance placed on the grubs, but with how the lane matchups are going, I think TSH is feeling a little bit more comfortable with their bot lane matchup and the bot lane strength there, maybe playing toward that early dragon versus maybe allowing coach to kind of snowball his own lane and not focus so much on those grubs and on that top side, especially since we've seen Lawal be such a force in this top lane, and now especially on this Jax.
Absolutely, yeah. We see split push with split push. The dude's willing to go toe to toe with anybody in TCL as the Jax gets picked up here. The Malphite as well to follow.
Interesting.
Uh, Very interesting pick here from the side of TSH. I'm not exactly sure where that's going. Could this be a Trundle support?
It looks like it's a flex pick, exactly, and I wonder, we haven't seen this type of comp as often really out of TSH. Yeah, it looks like it is going to be Ari in the middle, and it's going to be a coach Trundle. Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. So it's gonna be something that they're comfortable flexing around. They definitely bluffed that jazz music pick since that's kind of traditionally what he was on in the top lane, but I'm really excited to see what SOS does here with their last pick.
Yeah, the Ari coming through leaves a lot of questions as to exactly where TSH is placing these champions. Obviously, we have Ashe in the bot side and Ari in mid, but everything else is pretty much just a giant question mark. I see the vision that they're going for, right? You have the Malphite ult to go on top
Mhm.
of the Galio wall, or the Galio wall going on top of the Malphite ult as the Cinder gets picked through as the final pick here.
Interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting on the side of SOS. They got quite a bit to work with here in terms of initiation, team fight, peeling, scaling. They pretty much hear all the marks, but TSH's comp, uh, I'm not exactly sure where they're going with this. I'm not exactly sure where the support's going to be. I do think on the side of TSH, you want Trundle to be in top lane against Jax. Um, but I could be wrong. I'm not exactly sure where exactly this Trundle is going to be slotted. Uh,
One of the
but if
interesting
the
things that I think we're going to see with how this team comp's going to play out is it's going to be extremely early game centric. They have a lot of ability to make pick occur with this Trundle brawling early with the Ash arrow and things like that. So definitely look for major pick fights to happen, and I think that's how TSH are envisioning this coming together. They're saying if we are able to get a pick that then enables the objective, then we don't have to worry so much about how the rest of this is going to play out because we know we have the ability to have that go button with the Ash arrow, with the Galio, with the Malphite, with the Trundle. It really enables them to have a little bit of flexibility instead of having to play these kind of big set piece team fights.
we definitely didn't even consider the possibility of a Trundle jungle. As coach picks that through, as we now see the composition starting to come together here. So it will be a Galio support. Definitely makes a lot of sense in the context of this matchup. You certainly don't want to hook the Galio in the bot lane 2v2. So actually a really creative and interesting adaptation from the side of TSH. My only concern here from the side of SOS's draft, and this is something we haven't also really touched on either as well, is the fact that this Zeri is very volatile. This Zeri can get picked off in a number of different ways, right? Obviously, you're able to buy the QSS. The QSS did get a little bit buffed with Mercurial Scimitar. These past couple of patches had a couple of adjustments made to it, but you're not able to QSS a knockup, right? So we have the Malphite going in, the Galio going in, two very long CC knockups on top of the Ashe, on top of the Charm. This Zeri might be in trouble if not piloted correctly, so I'm very
Yeah,
interested to see how
absolutely.
Boobly's going to be able to make this one work.
Yeah, and I think it's tough because if he doesn't have the ability to navigate the team fight, if he just gets locked up in the CC, then he's not going to get a chance to press R and then E over the wall and kind of use that escapability that Zeri's kind of famous for. But I want to draw attention to the fact that I think this might be like one of the first times we've had Mordekaiser go through pick ban just completely untouched, right? this is
That's
uh
true.
this is going
That
to be
is
really
true.
interesting. Yeah.
Both top laners are Mordekaiser enjoyers as well. I haven't
Mhm.
had really any discussions with top laners in TCL recently. So I'm not exactly sure where the Mordekaiser falls in terms of like the most efficient tactics available for the top laners versus something like the split pushing tactics that we've seen that has been very successful in past TCL seasons. So
Yeah,
really
we'll have to
interested to
see.
see how Jazz pilots this Malphite in the top lane, especially probably going to go the Arcane Comet, be able to poke out Lyle Walt just a little bit more. But ultimately in the side lane, I'm not exactly sure he'll end up winning that.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things that we're probably going to see with this is how this mid jungle duo is going to play out. I think they picked a lot of strength with this Ari Trundle. I think one of the interesting things is, okay, do they want to be that kind of three-man roam squad? Because I could see them kind of enabling their top laner in that way, right? You get the RE6, you get the Trundle top lane, and all of a sudden Jax is looking like a champion that's extremely, extremely gankable. But like you said, it could definitely be an angle where they go try to go bot lane. They have the Galio set up. They have the Ashe set up. Zeri does have cleanse, so they need to be looking for windows where she doesn't necessarily have that. But Ari's going to have a much more effective roam than Syndra, and we've seen Coach really flex a lot of those abilities to be on the map and the right spots at the right time. So if you can take advantage of the Zac, you never know.
Yeah, Coach has been one of those junglers
Hmm.
so far in the TCL season that a lot of people just kind of swept under the rug, right? They kind of really didn't give him much thought at all. As someone who has been on the receiving end of that for the past 6 seasons that I've played in this league, it's always very fun to, to
Yeah,
see those kind of adaptations, right?
I
And to
think
see
he's
people's
definitely
perception view.
he started to get his flowers, especially the last few weeks. He's looked really, really good, and I mean, they had a tough series last week against TCL, but they've that nonetheless the team has definitely looked like it's run through Coach, for better or worse in all of these games, and I think for the most part it's been for better. TSH has looked like a really strong team, and I think his shot calling, his early macro play has really been a huge part of that for sure.
Yeah, Coach is like I said, right? Like you got to have one of those shot callers, right? You're going to have one of those knowledgeable people on the team. I mean, when you take a look at the rest of the player base here on the side of TSH, we have a lot of veterans, right? We have Control, we have Jazz, we have Speedy, right?
Mhm.
Three
Yeah.
very decorated players, especially in Speedy being one of the champions here in TCL. Control yet to get one, Jazz yet to get one. So it's nice to have that balance of okay, just generally being knowledgeable at the game, and then also having a team that has been comfortable in the TCL circuit before.
Yeah.
I think that
Absolutely.
dynamic is certainly interesting and is certainly one that's benefited this team thus far. Correct me if I'm wrong, AI Box, but this team, I don't believe they're undefeated, correct? Or are they?
Neither of these teams are, no.
Okay, excellent.
TSH just dropped a series. I think that was their first series that they just dropped against TCL last week, and I believe the other team, SOS, is 1-2.
Right.
Yeah, because
Gotcha.
they just picked up their first series win against Yapopotami last week.
Yapopotami is still an absolutely killer name.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
it's
I
great.
will die on that hill, especially TCL. That's another one. TCL in TCL. Uh, so, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
it's
mean
great.
AI.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
you have a prediction for me going into
I
this game?
do. It's funny. I was actually
Yeah.
just about to ask you that.
Heck
As
yeah. Okay, absolutely.
I would like to draw everyone's attention to the fact that the $500 Ari skin has graced the rift,
Oh
ladies and
my
gentlemen. So,
goodness. Wait, it's
uh,
moving. It's not the Faker one? Okay,
oh,
it's
it's not the
this is
Faker
just
one.
it's a
Gotcha.
$300 one, not the $500
I
one.
see. I see. Well, in terms of
Oh
just
my
funds, right?
goodness.
Funds to just
Yeah.
throw at the wall. Team SOS, uh, probably going to be able to take this one home. Honestly,
Yeah, it's gonna be a skin diff. That's gonna be my prediction,
for sure. But
unironically.
if I was playing in this draft, I think I would rather have Team SOS's draft. They have a lot of great scaling, right? It's Sandy on Syndra. Can't really ever go wrong with that. I mean, I'm just a Zeri merchant, so I'd feel comfortable being put in that position anyways. As we're loading onto the Rift here, pretty standard stuff from both sides. Going to be a defensive form for both of them. Interestingly enough, AI Box, I know you said that you weren't really too versed on the meta, as we were just kind of hanging out and seeing how each other were doing.
I'm familiar with the meta. I just haven't played the exact current patch since it
Gotcha,
dropped. But yeah.
gotcha. Speedy decided to go with Hail of Blades rather than the press the attack, which I
Thanks
think
for
is
outing me on that. Yeah, yeah.
no problem, man. Listen, in terms of a couple weeks ago when I was really excited that Luciv pulled out the Corki in bot lane a couple weeks ago, you know, my whole perception on the meta was, oh my god, Corki's going to be insane. No, like Corki's just going to be a really good bot laner in terms of the counter meta, right? He's got that lethality build, but he absolutely got clapped. And if you take a look at the stats as well, Corki has not been doing well in bot lane at all either.
Yeah.
So if you want an
We're
out,
definitely- Yeah.
you know, I definitely got outed on my meta.
No, I think, especially since he was such a lane bully with the previous patch, I think they just wanted to give him a little bit of tab, and I'm wondering if we're seeing a little bit too much there. But I think especially with this bot lane, Ashe did just get kind of hit with a little bit of a nerf. Definitely not the worst thing you've ever seen. Just a nerf to that to her passive, making sure that that critical chance is scaling just a little bit less. But nonetheless, still a strong champion, still one that has that huge range advantage, especially against a lane like Azeri.
Sure. And as we see a little bit of a scuffle here in the bot lane, they are going to get the level 2 advantage here. So they are going to be able to use that Halo Blades off immediately. Clover looking pretty good on the Galio so far. Lalwa getting the push on the top side here. Going to have a little bit of prio here for the grubs that will be spawning in just a couple minutes time. Clover sitting on a ward. Pretty standard jungle clear thus far. As we see a little bit of a trade in the mid lane as well. So
Mirrored in the jungle clear, like you said, that means they're probably going to be meeting right around that scuttle around the same time. We also see the elixir being taken by the Ahri, which she already has popped, so maybe looking to get a little bit of aggressive, making sure that she can match any sort of roam that's happening. But there's
we're seeing a little bit of a gank here on the top side. Lalwa going to use the counter strike to buy as much time as he possibly can. Uses the assault on the minion to be able to queue away. Well played by him to be able to escape that scary gank on the top side. As once again, pretty much bot kingdom here. Haven't said that in a while. For Speedy Bandito here, putting the Halo Blades to work, making sure that Boobly is not able to play the game as Zeri. On the other side, though, Boobly doing a really good job at CSing under the pressure, so very good on him. And also, critically, does have the cleanse available as well to be able to get himself out of those sticky situations. Especially with the all the CC that's going to be befelled onto him.
Yeah,
mostly for the
Coach did use his Ghost for that top lane gank, so ghosted into the top lane, wasn't able to get anything, and I don't think Wild really even lost much in that exchange, to be honest.
No, not at all.
And now both junglers are paddling back toward the spot scuttle.
Yeah, in fact, Wall is actually considerably amount up on CS as he goes for another trade in the top side, gets a rock thrown at him, but crucially, Jazz is out of mana, so there's not really a whole lot of options for him. He's just getting bullied by Lyle Wall at the moment, which is kind of how I thought this matchup was going to go. Really, all Malphite has available to him is the Boulder Toss. All he has is the Q for Harass and the Arcane Comet poke, but I mean, Lyle Wall pretty much has everything else available to him to get aggressive and also dodge those ganks.
Yeah, I think he's being a little bit too liberal with that seismic, not seismic shove, excuse me, with his E, and it's kind of what's burning all of his mana. He's not waiting for his Arcane Comet, he's not waiting for his mana flow, and as a result, it's kind of just run him dry pretty early.
Right. Definitely agree with you on you there. I think Jazz is using just a little bit of too much of his mana on the top side. Could be nerves, could be he hasn't played the matchup in a while. Jazz has been one of those top laners that has been super consistent throughout TCL. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think Jazz has played in every single TCL season and has yet to win a title.
I'm sorry, I'm not Spirit. I can't pull that stats off the top of my head. I mean, that sounds correct to me. I would believe that if you said that. He's definitely been a staple of the league ever since the league has started. He was on my team season 1. I distinctly remember that one for sure. So
yeah, I remember you putting me in the dirt in season 1 actually. When I was on the team with Bloodbath and Beyond. Yeah, what was it? It was like 76,000 Senna damage, and I still couldn't pull it out.
Yeah. I was playing. I was just playing late game Rise. What can you do?
Yeah, we don't talk about that. We definitely will not talk about that for the rest of the cast unless Twitch chat wants to get in on that. As Dragon gonna be picked up here.
This is exactly what we were talking about. This is we were expecting him to play toward that bot side, get that bot lane strength going, and immediately pivot toward those early drags, and that's exactly what we're seeing coming. And the grubs aren't even going to be up for another 15 seconds, so he's gonna be able to rotate and definitely contest this, even if Rick was able to go onto it right away.
For sure. And I just want to point out as well, Crit Cloak being picked up here is the first item for Speedy Bandito. We haven't really talked about him. Yeah, sick. We haven't really talked about him much. on broadcast us yet, but if you know anything about the TCL community, is that man in particular, hold that thought, as Lyle Walt's actually going in for an all-in here inside the minion wave. Microscopic Rick is here for the game cure, and it will be first blood for the side of SOS. A very big pickup here for Lyle Walt. Didn't have to use any summoners, didn't have to expend anything, just the freest kill in existence for him.
This might be killed here as well on Old Greg.
Yeah, there it is. Old Greg going to be flashing away, misses the Q. Not much else to do there, as Boobly is going to be able to pick up that ward as well. So big crucial kill here for the side of SOS to get Lyle Walt even farther ahead. Has that Sheen pickup available to him as well, so he's going to be able to harass even more. Jazz now down TP. Control's got to be careful here for the potential engage, but Coach does sniff it out, so
yeah, all in all, we haven't talked about yet is this mid lane matchup. One of the things we're seeing is the Merc treads early on the Ahri.
Yeah, that is true.
In response to the first strike, especially on the Sandy Snake Syndra, I mean, first strike did just get nerfed, now 10 gold instead of 15, but nonetheless still a strong rune, especially in a lane like this where she's able to kind of get effective poke down. But definitely doesn't want to get caught out. Merc treads first item on the Ahri.
Yeah, speaking of first strike, as the grubs start to be picked up here on the side of TSH, or THS, excuse me. Grubs, I believe they're still very powerful in today's meta. You definitely want to be looking for them, especially denying them from the side of Team SOS when they have a really big split push comp. Is now Control going to be looking for a play here in the mid lane. Does not get the charm off. Will have to ult away. Coach is here to cover, but once again, actually, excuse me, he does have the ghost available to him, so could have potentially ran in and made something happen, but with Control being so low mana, it doesn't really even make sense to make a play like that, so good on Coach to cover for that potential scary fight that was happening in the mid lane.
Yeah, but crucially, 3 grubs going over to the side of TSH. All of the neutral objectives so far. And I think one of the tough things was after the dragon got taken so early, Rick didn't have the confidence to walk into the fog and start the grubs up, even with that kill into the top lane. So when that happened, he kind of went and did some camps, tried to cover mid, and wasn't able to really make any early objectives occur, even though they were able to get a kill in the top lane. And so Coach walks, clears his top side, even though he's probably assuming that the grubs might just be gone at that point, and is able to still secure the grubs and secure his mid laner's escape. So really good looks from Coach early on in this game.
A very heads-up play by Coach as well, as the junglers now turn to level 6. Lyle Walt still doing Lyle Walt things on the top side. Is now Clover looking to get a little bit aggressive. Coach now throws down the Frozen Domain, does get the pillar, but there won't be anything else much out of it. Speedy Bandito not having basically any damage currently at the moment, as Lyle Walt continues to bring the pain up in the top side. So pretty even all around here. About 200, excuse me, now a 400 gold deficit here. 600 gold deficit now for the side of TSH. But crucially, everything's pretty close at the moment.
It's going to have to be the game plan that we talked about before. Make sure we carry through Lyle. Make sure he gets to experience the game, and make sure that he is the one that's going to be doing it.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold that thought. Is now Jazz looking for a 1v2 in the top side here. Microscopic Rick going to be able to take that down immediately. Another kill going to the favorite jungler of Microscopic Rick on the Zac. We talked about it in Champion Select, how this man has been kind of the Zac merchant recently in past seasons. Being able to show that proficiency on the champion is now Sandy Snake might be in a little bit of trouble. Control does have the ultimate charm combo available to him, but decides not to do anything more just to get that wave in. Does land the charm, very good damage here. Sandy Snake looking for a little bit of return, does not find anything else. And once again, Lyle Walt now on a 20 CS lead in the top side. He's looking pretty dominant so far in this game with Microscopic Rick's help.
Unfortunately, both kills going over to the Zac. But nonetheless, still a really good dive. Denies them a lot of CS. They're able to kind of continue to build momentum on this Jax. Make sure he's going to be a split push menace. I'm not sure who's even going to be able to match him. It's got to be the Trundle or something like that eventually. But it's going to be something where eventually, once he gets these items, Malphite's not going to be able to lane. And especially with more plates coming and the bot lane not being quite the... Oop, as there's a play.
Yes.
My goodness.
Bandito gained the ult off. Very good pick by him, as now Clover is going to be able to take that one away from him. I'm not sure if that's exactly who you want it to go on. Is now Control looking for a play in the mid lane. Does have the ultimate available. Flashes out. Oh, barely. The minions not even targeting Sandy Snake here. That was really unlucky. Very close from both mid laners here. Sandy Snake walking away. Can I get an HP check from production here, as it does spy him? 29 HP. Holy moly, that was a close one from the side of the both mid laners.
Yeah, that was something that could have gone either way. That could have really changed the complexity of the game. But yet, there we go. There's Coach with yet another Dragon neutral objective take. They're gonna have to match these at some point. And
Yeah.
I want to draw attention to the fact that Ash's build is it's interesting.
Yeah, Ash is going for the Zeal. A great hook from Old Man Greg here, trying to get something onto him as Clover now looks for the escape. Will not be able to find it, just hits Microscopic Rick right in the face, who is now on a killing spree on the Zac. Speedy Bandito potentially looking to push up this bot wave here. Dragon's not up for a little bit, so once again, just going to find another pick here as Lyle Wall goes forward onto Jazz. Looking a little low, though. Still 20 CS up, still a pretty commanding league, but Coach, once again, going to be looking for the Void Grubs, but it looks like SOS does have the idea. They have Coach's number. They're going to be able to potentially just take these for themselves here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like how that play led into ultimately now Red Side being able to take grubs, but it's something that when you watch that play in the extended form, I think SOS was just a little bit more coherent and being able to move everyone at the same time, and now they are able to kind of finally contest the neutral objective, and they come away with that that huge kind of like stabilizing force.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the grubs end up going the way of SOS's. Old Greg will just take a Ari Charm to the face, get a little bit of damage. Clover waiting in the wings, potentially looking for something to happen here. He does have the taunt available to him. Will find one of them. Where is the backup, though? Gets hooked onto the E. That was really unfortunate, but a great hook from Greg is now the Enchanted Crystal Arrow will come in. A beautiful charm onto Sandy Snake as Control goes forward.
No way.
Looking for one kill. There is absolutely no way that both of them walk away. That is super unlucky. Well played from the side of SOS to stay alive there, as now, once again, crucially, them not getting those kills is really bad.
And that was a really great arrow from Speedy, but I can't help but imagine if he had a little bit more support from the Trundle, had been able to do just a tiny bit more damage at this stage in the game. I wonder if it was because he just hadn't based yet, but that was so close. Still, nonetheless, a great look from TSH, and I think that's kind of a blueprint for how they want to play this game moving forward.
Yeah, very interestingly, just kind of taking a look at the items here, Boobly has gone for both Retrix and Scout Slingshot, but also has a pickaxe available to him.
Oh yeah, that's odd. Both AD carry builds are they're certainly interesting.
They're very weird. Not to say they're bad, but I am very confused here at the pickaxe pickup. He definitely had enough gold available to him. Actually, no, he wouldn't have, because Static Shiv is 1,000 gold now with those two components. So probably just figured, you know what? Yeah, I'll just grab a pickaxe for my next item. That is probably going to be the Infinity Edge. Ghost, expended by Coach as well. Not going to be able to get anything. That is now the second time he's used Ghost preemptively, unfortunately, to not get anything for it.
Yeah, with the Ghost changes, it is kind of a ramping thing, so it is something that you want to use early. And I mean, like I was saying, that's kind of what we see them wanting to do. They group up as 3 or 4 in that case with the Ashe, and they just kind of run at them. They know they have a lot of pick. They have a lot of ability to just say, that's the champion that needs to die, and then kill them. We haven't necessarily seen that work out just quite yet, but that's the game plan, and I think they're sticking to it. And it's nice to see when a team is really coherent in what they see their vision of the big game being, and I think that's definitely what we're seeing so far.
Absolutely. Rudon's Hurricane, first item pickup here for Speedy Bandito. Definitely a core item on Ashe. I don't know if it's the first.
Yeah, I was worried that, because I was wondering what the longsword was, but I was like, that's got to be a Runaan's or something like that. But that's crazy.
I mean, that was a thing a couple of seasons ago, and by a couple seasons ago, I mean back in 2016. But Rudon's Hurricane still a strong pickup. Now, yeah, the charm, the beautiful charm coming in here from Control. Gonna have to use the ultimate to get away, but Microscopic Rick potentially going a little too deep here. Does have the Cell Division available to him, is now a massive slam from Clover being able to pick up the fight. It's a beautiful Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out. The Cell Division is now available to him. The TP coming in from Jazz. A beautiful hook from Old Man Greg. It's a shutdown for Control, and Booply just runs in and gets a beautiful kiss on the forehead from Control, as Speedy Bandito picks up that kill as well. A beautiful fight swing from the side of TSH.
Yeah, just the initial fight just did not have the damage to be able to kill this Trundle. I think he has a nullifying orb, actually, is what I saw, and that saved him from the Sandy Snake ultimate on the Syndra. And as the fight just gets more and more extended, that's just not going to go in the favor of SOS. You're against the Trundle, you're against an Ahri. That's just a fight that will inevitably, the longer it gets, the worse it goes for you. As we see yet another.
Yeah, we see Clover looking for another top. Oh, a nice charm on the Sandy Snake. A very interesting turn, but now Sandy Snake is actually going to get a lot of return damage. Coach will be able to pick up old Greg here. Microscopic Greg potentially looking for an engage, but he might be in trouble here. Coach sniffs him out. The Elastic Slingshot going to be able to buy some time as now TSH, the Dragon, is all theirs for the taking.
They're going to be on Soul Point so fast. That's a 17-minute Soul Point. And this is the kind of moves that we expect out of this Trundle and this coach-led team. When you see the Ahri pick, when you see the Trundle pick that's able to be flexed like that, that just gives them so much early power. And when the pick happens, and they're playing in the other side jungle, right? They are constantly grouping up as 3. They're constantly grouping up with these champions that we know are going to be looking to fight, looking to look for picks, and then they are making these picks happen. But one of the things I do want to kind of bring up is Boobly at the end there, wanting to get involved with that, but just didn't quite have the damage just yet to be able to execute the Ahri. And when he went over the wall, takes the full charm into the face, into the full Galio taunt. The cleanse wasn't enough in that situation, and just kind of made a bad situation just a little bit worse, unfortunately.
Yeah, trade-off. For I receive your cleanse, you receive 3 different CC spells. As now Lyle Walt with the CC spell of his own. It will actually miss.
Arrow.
A beautiful enchanted crystal arrow as Coach picks up Lyle Walt. Now the fight begins. Control right into the back line. Another beautiful charm as Boobly just decides to play Jet Set Radio. As now Clover flash taunting in, does get the crucial AD carry. It is another kill going over to Clover. And now SOS once again has to run for the hills.
Yeah, and that's one of those fights where they saw what was happening to them on their blue side, and they're like, we got to make something similar happen. And when they went in for that, Coach, just the rest of the team was there to help them out, making sure that they were able to secure that blue buff. But here's a dive.
Oh, wow. Microscopic Greg gets a beautiful Elastic Slingshot. Going to be able to buy just a little bit of time for Greg. It could potentially be another kill here. Old Greg does get Clover, as now Coach looking very dire here. Does has the Ravenous Hydra available to him, but it will not matter. 2 beautiful kills going to the side of SOS. Just almost barely. 2k gold now separates the teams, and now things are getting really dicey here, because once again, like we mentioned earlier, AI Box, this is either going to go one of 2 ways, right? It's either going to be SOS is going to be able to get Lyle Walt ahead a little bit, and he's going to be able to split push. He does have that Trinity Force available to him, so he's starting to get strong, but this TSH team fighting prowess has just been so good as Clover just decides to hop on in and say hi, just to get this Herald.
Yeah, fortunately, especially with this Herald coming through, they're not like really too far gold behind. But the unfortunate thing is where the gold is. Look at who has the kills on the side of SOS. It is 4 on the Zac and 2 on the Thresh and 0 on anybody else. And it's just not the distribution that you want to be seeing. And yeah, Zac is going to be accelerated, but who do you want this gold to be on? Jax, right? You want this to be on Jax, you want this to be on the Syndra. The Zeri, I mean, would be great, don't get me wrong, but the 2 people that really need the gold really only have 2 assists and another arrow, my goodness.
Oh, wow, a beautiful enchanted crystal arrow. Speedy Bandito does not miss. Control looking for just a little bit of damage as the TV comes through. Lyle Walt is here to party. Will not find anything else just for the moment. Old Greg will have to back up once again. Man, Speedy Bandito has been very crisp with these arrows this game.
Yeah, his build path may certainly be interesting, but he is on it with these arrows, and he's kind of making a difference maker, and that's the proactivity that is going to win you games in the long run. Yeah, and some of them haven't worked out; they haven't been able to always translate. But as long as you're always looking, especially in a league like TCL, that is kind of what the difference is sometimes.
Absolutely, and once again, we just mentioned that the gold lead for the side of TSH is only 2k gold. So certainly is swingable for the side of SOS. Like we said, they do have that split pushing prowess. They have that scaling. They already have a really beefy tank on the side of Microscopic Rick. So as long as Boobly can kind of just, you know, play to his strength, play to his kiting potential, I think they'll be fine. But they definitely have to be careful of Control, who has just been insanely valuable in these last fights, right? Getting into that backline, making sure that...
Nice shot by Microscopic Rick.
Oh, well,
my goodness.
I would expend the flash there from Speedy Bandito is actually huge, especially when he's playing the Ashe. So well played by Microscopic Rick, but yeah, speaking of dives, that's certainly a player you have to watch out for. But yeah, Control has been very valuable in these team fights, right? We've seen him just use the Ahri ultimate to be able to get in that back line, be able to get the charm off onto Boobly these last couple of fights, and it's just always in there and always in their faces and disrupting the back line. So
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're going to see out of this Ahri pick is her ability to kind of get around this Zac, get around this Jax, and maybe look for something on the Syndra or on this area. But hold that thought, my goodness.
yeah, there it is. Once again, another beautiful taunt from Clover. Boobly going to have to use the Lightning Crash here to get a little bit of movement speed, but Lyle Walt in a very dangerous position. Counter-Strike going through his Control once again just takes Boobly out of the fight. Lyle Walt having to flash forward once again, flash away, excuse me, Control, getting another beautiful charm, kiting, doing all the damage that he can. Jazz does not have the ultimate available, but he's just a big rock as now Lyle Walt jumps right into Control. A shutdown, a beautiful Galio ultimate in the backline is now, it is just an absolute mess here. Clover, once again, kill sniping everybody else, and that is Soul here for the side of TSH.
Yeah, Cloud Soul is going to be great for them. They're a team that wants to move around. They're a team that wants to be in the correct position at the right time, and this is going to be huge for them, unless Brick can come and steal it.
Microscopic Rick looking for that steal, able to get one. Sandy Snake does get Jazz out, but it's not going to be able to matter. Could potentially be a fight here. Sandy Snake is actually really powerful. Elastic Slingshot going to be able to get him back to safety, but that is Cloud Soul here for the side of TSH. Those ultimate cooldowns very crucial here in this game, specifically with the comp that they've drafted.
Yeah, and one of the things that, speaking of comp, one of the things I wanted to bring up, especially prior to that last fight, is I think SOS has a little bit of a damage problem. I'm not sure. I mean, you look at the beginning of that fight, Jax just going toe-to-toe with the Trundle just was not quite accelerated enough for that. And I'm not sure who else is really doing the damage in the extended fights. When you look at where Zeri's at, when you look at where Syndra is at, Syndra's not going to be the person that is going to be kind of shredding these tanks, shredding Coach, shredding Jazz. She needs to be the person that is able to get onto someone like Controller Speedy, which she was able to do in that previous fight. But where does the fight go from there? You saw the longer the fight went with Lyle Walt in the current situation that he's at, they just don't have the damage to be taking these.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just like you said, right, like the Zeri's not online. The Zeri's going to be opting for I believe it's going to be the Renan's Hurricane here. Second item is now Coach does get the Frozen Domain and the Pillar down onto Greg. It's another beautiful fight. Microscopic Rick, Elastic Slingshotting right into the fight here. Watch Boobly, though. He does have the Lightning Crashes. Lyle Walt gets in for a 3-man taunt. A beautiful hook is now. The fight could potentially swing in their favor. Boobly is still active with the Lightning Crash. It's a beautiful flash taunt. Oh, wait a minute. He got the taunt canceled. Clover now having to run for the hills as a TP from Sandy Snake comes through. That was a very interesting decision there, but just watch the damage here. Control looking for an assassination attempt, still has one more charge of the ultimate available, does get the shutdown onto Sandy Snake. It's a beautiful play from Control, and Speedy Bandito is now Lyle Walt once again back in the fight, will potentially be able to pick up one. Barely okay, he does get one, but watch for Control here. Clover with another beautiful Justice Punch to the face, and it's another beautifully executed team fight from the side of TSH.
It's just the Control show. This man has just absolutely taken over the game on this Ahri. These double burn items plus the Merc Treads means that he has all the flexibility in the world to hit whatever target he wants. Crucially, the TP coming over onto Rick, saving his blobs for just a second, but then he's channels the Elastic Slingshot in, dies during the Slingshot and gives Control that reset that's able to get him back over the wall and back again. So when you look at Control making that play, that doesn't happen without that reset happening onto Microscopic Rick. And he is just able to come back in, kill Sandy Snake, and just gun them down one by one on this Ahri. What an incredible play from the mid laner of TSH. It's just, I'm speechless. That's amazing.
Yeah, Control really living up to his name this game. Absolutely taking matters into his own hands on the Ahri. Absolutely fantastic team play here from Control, being able to take just absolute dominating and seamlessly bad plays and really dicey situations sometimes, especially when, you know, Boobly had the Lightning Crash going, didn't quite have Renan's Hurricane in that fight, so he wasn't able to exactly get a whole lot done. You know, the damage being low, he is a 0-4 Zeri, but still scaling, still climbing is now Lyle Walt looking for a potential topside scuffle here, but Clover is just right on top of it. Absolutely read Lyle Walt like a book. He will eventually go down. Control is absolutely unstoppable, and AI box, I mean, as much as we love to talk
Yeah.
about the individual talent of these players, they're just getting absolutely bodied in a team fight game.
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing this kind of be systematic as Old Greg is probably going to go down here.
Yeah, old Greg does get the hook off.
Okay.
Oh, barely survives, actually. Well played, does get the redemption down. Clover now looking for potential play from Microscopic Rick. Don't count him out just yet. He's able to get one. Will he be able to get two? But Boobly's getting a lot of damage down onto him. The lightning crash only getting,
no,
barely escapes the ultimate from Jazz, but Control just has too many dashes, too many charms, too much movement speed. The $300 Ari skin definitely showing its worth here on the Rift tonight, as TSH just going to go straight back to Baron.
And we're seeing the mobility with the Cloud Soul. The ability to just chase. Trundle landing down that frozen domain, running at you at a million move speed, putting down his own pillar, and then the continued chase. No matter the fact that they missed the Malphite ult there. It's one of those where as long as TSH are bundled together, as long as they're on the same page, and SOS aren't, those fights will never work out for them. Lyle ult, just at the beginning of that really extended fight, just kind of getting caught out, not being on the same page as his team. And even though SOS with Sandy on this Syndra are able to kind of get some nice picks, get some nice looks going, as they try to exit, they just get run down.
Yeah, I mean, this is just what you were talking about in that last exchange, right? Like, they're just so far behind now. Like, there's no damage to him. Now Lyle Walt once again, he's saying hello to the Avengers. They have arrived in the form of TSH. Coach once again getting the better half of Lyle Walt once again. That Sundered Sky, that Trinity Force means absolutely nothing when you have all 5 members down on the bot side. Elder going to be spawning, but they have their sights exactly onto the Baron once again.
Can we get a gold check? I just want to see how the lanes are kind of going. We're seeing a 4K difference, not quite overall, but yeah, now Malphite has pulled ahead of this Jax, and Jax being behind in tempo in this against this team is just going to not have a good chance of actually being able to play the game.
Right, and this is something that we didn't touch up on in Champion Select. The semi-global ultimates available to them is now Clover, speaking of semi-global ultimates, going to be able to use the effects of his champion.
Oh, he stole it! He stole it!
Sandy Snake with a beautiful Scatter the Weak to be able to steal that Baron. His Control gets another kill. Greg sacrifices his life to be able to steal that Baron. A beautiful play from the side of SOS to pull them just back just a little bit, but you're absolutely correct. It is Elder, but crucially, Microscopic Rick is alive, but he does not have the Cell Division to him.
Don't fight this at all. The only way you lose is if you flip this Elder and you lose.
He's looking for it though. Microscopic Rick. He's looking for it. He's looking for the elastic slingshot, but it's going to be too late probably, as now Blue Team's able to take it away. Coach crucially being able to get that as a beautiful Enchanted Crystal Arrow, having to force the cleanse out of Boobly once again. Coach,
this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes, with a beautiful ultimate. There's just so much action happening. There's too much to keep track of. Lyle Walt once again getting another beautiful kiss to the face. Boobly getting slain once again from Jazz. This poor Zeri just cannot get it done this game. And that's all she wrote for this one, folks. I don't see any chance that SOS is going to be able to get back into this one.
But why would you fight that at all? Like I was saying, it's a 4v5. Your mid laner just made a hero play to get the Baron. The only way that this fight can go upside down is if you try to fight this Elder and then lose more people. You can stall it out with your Baron minions. You can clear the waves and wait out the duration of this Elder. There's no reason to be contesting this objective. And now they're 2 inhibs down. Their AD carry is dead. Their mid laner is dead. And the Baron stall has just completely gone down the window as they lose all of their jungle as well.
Absolute Giga Chat attempts here coming out from the side of SOS. Absolutely respect the play from Microscopic Rick, but there's just too much CC, man. Like, you don't have Cell Division available to you, and even if you did, it's probably still in play, just like you were touching up on AI Box. I mean, it's just the basic moral of this story is just Control is just an absolute beast at team fighting. Like, that's been like the basic consensus here in this game. Control is just a monster on this Ahri, and there's not really a whole lot that you can do, you know, as a squishy champion like Boobly. This 0 and 6 Zeri, really unfortunate happenings. You know, we were talking about like the potential scaling that this champion could provide in the later stages of the game, but the later stages of the game are probably not happening. So
yeah, and it's one of those things where like the Zeri is kind of a tempo carry. She needs a chance to actually play the game. If she's behind in gold the entire time, she's never going to actually have that chance. And as a result, she's not going to do anything in these team fights, right? Even with this Knight's Vow, even with the items that she does have now.
Right, microscopic grip looking for a
Oh
beautiful
my
elastic
gosh!
slingshot, but Sandy Snake obliterates Coach. Now it's a potential even fight here. We see Lyle Walt once again split pushing. Keep an eye on him, potentially going to be able to knock down that tower. The wave clear from Boobly as well, potentially going to be able to stall, but I definitely would not walk up if I were you. That is a big rock right in front of you, and his name is Jazz. So they are going to pick up that red inhibitor. Actually pretty good for Boobly here, to be honest with you, because now he's got two massive waves coming into him at once. So he does have an opportunity to be able to get IE, which is going to be very crucial for these late game fights.
Yeah, but what a hero play from Sandy Snake yet again, catching out Coach. Unfortunately has no flash, so is now even more vulnerable to this Malphite ult, but this man just has to continue to build damage to keep his team in this fight. They lose the triple inhib, but like you said, they do have pretty good wave clear. They have the ability to kind of keep these waves at bay, and this might just be a TCL special where we kind of see this get spelled out, right? It's just more gold. At the end of the day, it's more gold, more experience for the side of SOS, so you never know. If they don't end this on the next neutral objective, this might just be just fine.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to my boy Tailwhip, who knows this this map state very well. The 600 CS Sivir win condition. If you're Boobly, it is going to be the 600 CS Zeri win condition. So,
Yeah, my
but I
goodness.
don't think TSH cares. I mean, I think they're
No.
just going to walk this in. You know, Coach is getting a little bit overextended. I hope he really learned his lesson from the last fight exchange that happened with Sandy Snake. So going to be able to potentially look for a play here. As now Greg does get a nice hook, but definitely is not the hook you want. And it looks like they are just going to march this in. Boobly going to have to crucially wave clear here with the static shiver. Renan's available to him, but I think he actually might have IE on this back. So if he does have IE, there is a potential window, but they have to play this very perfectly. They have to play this very well. Cell Division is also available to the Zac on the back line. Looking
no
for potential
flashes on the mid or the AD carry. Look for that.
That is true, yeah. Microscopic Rick has not yet shown. Will show now as another charm comes on to Lyle Walt, getting a bunch of damage right onto him. They're trying to play this very slow, methodical, but I don't know how much longer they can hold this. There's just so much wave clear, and you have to remember, look at that beautiful redemption here coming out from Clover. Very heads up from him to be able to use that, to use this to get them a little bit more healthy. As now Microscopic Rick will be pulling the trigger. Does immediately get taunted. Watch Boobly. This could potentially be a huge fight here. The IE is available. He does get one. Now Sandy Snake looking for a potential another. Jazz does get Greg. Control looking to do anything in this fight. A nice shutdown onto Sandy Snake. He will claim the biggest name in this game. Spady Bandito getting another kill. It's a double kill now for the side of TSH, and it looks like the fight will be exploded. Microscopic Rick cannot do anything into this game, and it will be the clean ace and the clean game one here for the side of TSH.
Yeah, that was just really well played from TSH from start to finish. Not any point in the game outside of the Baron still where it looks like they weren't quite in control of what the outcome was, but still, Sandy Snake with some hero plays almost keeping them in that. Landed a 4-man stun at the end of the game to almost turn that team fight, but it was just a little bit of a gold diff at the end there. And still, some sparks of life, some hope to be seen for the rest of the series, and ultimately TSH are an absolute force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at that damage graph here real quick before we break into game two. I mean, absolutely. Look at that massive monstrosity of damage here coming from Control. Very well played from him. If there's an MVP so far in the series, it is definitely him. But
Absolutely.
we're going to have to see if they are going to be able to close it out here in game two. So do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this amazing match so far. TSH getting the better half of SOS here in game number one. Once again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Hosi GG. Once again, with this amazing, beautiful creature in AI Box, an absolute staple of the TCL community. And Box, let me tell you what, man. I know that we were talking a little bit as our break was rolling here, just about how potentially SOS could adapt. And while the Zeri pick is incredibly comfortable, it didn't really look impactful at all in comparison. And that's mostly because of Control. To be
Yes,
fair,
yeah,
Control's an
100%.
absolute beast. He did
Yep.
get Ari, and he did stomp, but it didn't really seem like there was a whole lot there from
Yeah.
the side of the SOS bot lane.
I think Zeri is definitely a point of comfort for SOS and definitely a point of comfort for Boobly, and it's something that they know that he will be happy with throughout the game. But I agree. I think it's one of those things where it's not the easiest champion to play, especially into the composition that TSH generally likes to draft. It's not the longest range AD carry, and crucially, when it falls behind it, it really doesn't offer any utility at all.
Right.
Uzeri is a damage champion. Zeri is kind of a micro dance around the fight, make sure that you're a target, but never actually get hit by anything kind of champion. And that's really hard to pilot. And especially if you're behind, it's even harder to pilot. So I agree. I think for the side TSH, it's something that Speedy Bandito and Clover were able to keep that priority and keep that lane going to where Clover was able to roam, kind of nullify a little bit what Zeri's able to do. But still, I wonder how SOS are going to pivot or if they're going to stick to their guns and do what they like.
Yeah, I thought TSH definitely weathered the storm very well in that bot lane. Once again, we were talking about the Halo Blades being, at least from my point of view, a little bit of a point of contention because Press the Attack is just that good of a rune right now,
Hmm.
especially on champions that can stick to you like Ashe, being able to get that extra damage off. But, at the end of the day, it's a game of comfort.
Hmm.
And like we were talking about the Zeri, I thought that Speedy Bandito did a fantastic job making sure that Boobly could not play the game in the early stages. And I thought
Yeah.
Clover did a fantastic job at backing him up as well. As we're getting right into pick ban here. Um, just once again, if for anybody who's joining now, we are currently using ProDraft.gg. So once again, not all the TCL players have all the champions available to them. So we'd like to have this option to make drafting a little bit more comfortable for our competitors. Now, right off the back here, SOS is going to be taking away LeBlanc and Ari
All right.
away from
Crucial.
control. Very crucial that they were able to pick up that, get that Ari away from them. The Karthus ban once again targeted at Coach. And on the other side, Kale, Volibear, and Aurelion Sol.
Basically the same.
SOS having blue side and getting first pick will be able to pick up an Ashe
Ooh,
potentially. I
okay.
like this
Yeah.
adaptation.
Yeah, they're gonna get the utility you get from Hotshot. You're gonna get the utility you get from the arrow, right? So no matter what, even if Booley's not gonna be able to auto attack in the context of a team fight, you're gonna be able to get something out of your AD carry position.
Absolutely. And take it from me. I have been on a team with Lyle Walt in particular. I've actually been on a team with a couple of these players, at least in collegiate. We had a couple of other players in past TCL seasons. And one of the things that we always found a great strength with, especially when playing with Lyle Walt in particular, is having that bot lane utility safety. And what I
Totally.
mean by that, right, is things like the Ashe, things like the Sivir, things like the Jhin, right? Being able to potentially 1v2 the lane, being able to get that information to provide that utility, and most importantly, being able to start off those team fights, right? What's one thing that Ashe, Sivir, and Jhin all have in common is their ability to be able to kick off the fights with their ultimate abilities.
Yeah,
So that is something that Lyle Walt has proven to be able to use to his benefit in the past. So I'm really glad to see this adaptation here for Boobly to be able to pick up the Ashe. On the other side, once again, the Trundle Galio Flex, going back to bread and butter. We definitely have a good idea as to where these are going now, but once again, like you said, it could be a Jazz Trundle on the top side.
definitely. And like you said, we're saying about the AD carry point. I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of AD carries like playing these champions because they give the AD carry agency to make a play happen, right? And allowing Booply to potentially take a little bit more of an active role in saying, hey, I see an angle here. I'm going to take it, right? You get that go button with the Ashe. Now you get that go button with the Sejuani. And you also have a little bit of that safety with the Melio pick, allowing to cleanse things like the taunt, the root, things like that, and get his AD carry out of there. But one of the things I actually don't think we really shouted out was Clover. Maybe with something with a little bit more prio like the Ashe Melio, they're going to be able to stop Clover from being able to move around the map. Because when you look at what happened last game, wherever the play was happening, Clover was right there.
He
And
was there.
definitely big props to that because that's something you want to be able to try and contain the Galio from doing as much as you can. And you're not going to be able to do it completely, but hopefully with a little bit more prio, they're going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I could definitely call Clover Control's third summoner spell because he was
Did
really
you watch
always
that
there.
faker? Did you watch that faker? That
I
faker
did
water
actually, and
videos like
it's
they
funny you
called
mentioned that.
Bangy.
Yeah, like his third
That's
summoner
excellent.
spell, I
That's
think.
excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Bangy was Faker's third summoner spell. That's
Something
incredible.
like that. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
in terms of the context of this game, I mean, Clover, like you said, had some very great plays on the Galio, right? Definitely was very pivotal in a lot of these fights. Once again, being a shadow. And
oh,
okay,
so we're
all
getting
right,
some
thank you.
production. notes that yeah, we're gonna have to rerun this champ select and see what happens from there.
Yeah, we did have a misban. One of the teams, SOS, did not ban a champion. Interestingly enough, so
Mm,
could potentially just be just an error. Somebody could have DC'd. Something could happen.
yeah,
Stuff like this does happen sometimes in TCL. So we are more than willing to take the time and hang out with you guys and really discuss the legacy and impact of these drafts and players. But so far, per the rules, they have to draft these champions. If they've selected it, they already have to draft it.
yep,
So, with the first part of the ban phase done, I actually really like we said, I really like this adaptation from SOS. Right,
yeah,
I love the Sejuani. That's another champion that Tiny Rick has been very impactful on in previous seasons. The Ashe and the Sejuani having a great ultimate combo. The Milio once again able to provide some agency for Boobly in the laning phase, being able to get more extended range on his autos and even a burn.
yeah,
Um,
totally. And
so
and
that'll be great.
especially with the how passive SOS kind of had to play a little bit of that early game in the last game, I think drafting slightly differently, getting people onto different champions, maybe that'll be the kind of push that they need to be able to make these early plays happen that we saw on behalf of TSH from last game. TSH rotating, getting the first two dragons, getting the first four dragons, actually the first five if you can include Elder, and then also taking the three grubs, really just missing out on the second round of grubs. It's one of those where like, can SOS kind of disrupt that flow a little bit? Because as with anything, you have to be proactive. You have to be getting them out of their comfort zone to be able to making the appropriate plays to win the game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, AI Box, as we are still awaiting the updated draft here from both sides. We have not gotten anything, but AI Box, I did want to play a very fun game with you
Okay. I love games. Sort of, sometimes. We'll
as
see.
we kind of get into this draft here. And the game I want to play here as we are getting ready for the second potential draft is will Ornn show its face
Oh,
in
okay.
this series?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of wanted to see what you'd think about that, potentially putting Jazz or even Lyle Walt on something like that,
No,
because I know
that's not
Ornn
gonna
has.
happen.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think they'll put Lyle on Orin. I think it's proven that when they have him on champions like that, it's not gonna necessarily work out, in a victory. But, I mean, it's one of those where I wouldn't definitely wouldn't put it past what we can see from TSH and the kinda comps they like to draft. Orin's a strong champion, and I don't think he's quite in his best state that he's ever been in, but that doesn't mean he's ever bad, you know? As wait, there's no way that's actually Yumi,
uh,
right? Um,
Production. Can we get confirmation that that is a Milio and Yumi in the same draft? Oh, they did.
no
Okay,
way. Okay, they
gotcha,
messed
gotcha. All
up
right.
the
Well, that would have been really exciting.
goodness gracious.
If not Ornn, we get Yumi. Yeah, and it's probably gonna go in the top lane or something.
Yeah, okay. So no, it look that's not okay. So it's not actually a Yumi. Looks like what's going to happen is the pro draft just got messed up once again, and they were going to go Camille with that last pick in the third pick instead of what we now see as Yumi. So what had originally happened was the Camille ban was the fourth ban for TSH in the previous pro draft, but now before that they were going to go Camille with that third pick instead of what we see as Yumi.
Oh, that would have been Pog. That would have been really
That
Pog
would have
if
been
it was a Yumi
something.
top. I'm pretty
But
sure there's like a viral video where it's like chat paid me $500 to go Yumi top, and so I did. It
goodness
was like
gracious,
AD
yeah.
Yumi top back when Gale Force was a thing. What a classic video. But yeah, once again, we're gonna be able to remake that draft. Yeah, probably not an Ornn this series. As much as
No,
TCL loves
I have
that
to
champion,
imagine,
I
yeah.
just I don't see that happening here. Either. I think this is definitely uh a very interesting thing to always take into consideration when you're drafting in TCL is the meta of the
Absolutely.
series, right?
I think and now you mentioned oh, there's the Master Yi. I was wondering if that was gonna happen since we didn't see that with the last ban. But with the Malphite being banned, I wonder if that's a signaling we just want to go Jax again. We want to make sure that we get the chance to just run it back with the Jackson. So we're gonna get rid of that Malphite, we're gonna get rid of that RE, and let's just let our Jax play the game.
All right, a Master Yi in TCL. Absolutely love to see it. An absolute Giga Chad pick coming out from Coach once again. Dude is actually just a Master Yi enjoyer. I
Yeah.
haven't really seen him play much of it, but I have heard in whispers in the TCL chat that it is a good pick. But you know what's a better pick? A turtle. As
Oh,
Rammus gets picked up here for the side of SOS.
I'm
Love this
sorry.
draft adaptation.
I forgot that Yuumi was Camille. I keep getting
Yes,
tripped up by that. So no, not Jax. It's just Camille. They want to make sure that Camille gets a good lane. But yeah,
yes.
like you said, Master Yi and Joy are on the side of Coach. He did play last series against TCL. Didn't work out for him. They drafted a comp kind of centered around Master Yi, but unfortunately, it's tough when Master Yi is kind of the person that needs to be at the objectives, be the person that's running in, and they weren't quite able to make it work. But not quite a Master Yi comp we're seeing from TSH this time around. But nonetheless, we'll see how it kind of works out.
Yeah, speaking of Giga Chad picks, Vel'Koz has been locked
Yeah.
in for control. Um, that's an interesting one. I don't think we've seen very many Vel'Kozes in TCL. I think the last one that was like uh pretty memorable, I think was goodness gracious, I know him well. I played in TCL with
Ferd.
him. It's Ferd.
Yeah.
Ferd, man. I think
Ferd's
Ferd played a
He's
lot of
the OG.
Vel'Koz.
I mean, if you want to go more recent, Frail is definitely
Oh yeah.
probably
Oh,
the,
for
the
sure.
resident Vel'Koz enthusiast. But we've also seen it come in the support position from IREP. It's something that we've seen a few times in TCL, and you get those stacks going. You get those true damage pops. It's a fun champion to play for sure. But
Yeah,
I think comp wise, TSH have kind of routed out something really odd. We're a little bit all over the place here with the Vel'Koz, the Yi, the Varus, the Galio, and the Trundle, but I think they're feeling themselves right now. So we'll see
yeah,
how this kind of shakes out.
can't say I like this draft
Yeah,
from the side of
it's
TSH.
something.
There's not really a whole lot of cohesion. There's not really a whole lot of layering of. I like to think of team composition as like cakes, right? There's layers to it, right?
Yep.
And a majority, the structural integrity of that cake that holds it together is CC combos in this
Yep.
game. Like it's just the truth, right? As much as we like to complain about 5-second Morgana queues, CCing you, like it's just a thing in the game. We have to accept it. And
Yeah.
TSH doesn't really have a whole lot of that. Um, just currently they have like a Master Yi that's probably gonna alpha strike someone on the back line, and then Galio's gonna try to ult on top of that and follow it up, and then obviously you have Varus, the chains of corruption to be able to make a play happen as well. But
Yeah.
they got poke. That's something.
Yeah.
You know.
And I mean, depending on what this Varus ends up going, if he ends up going on hit or lethality, either way, it's an awesome Rammus game. You
Oh,
look
it
at
is.
Rammus, he has three people that he is perfectly happy to just sit in the middle of. This man builds Thornmill, he presses his defensive curl and just runs into the middle and says, "Here I am. What are you gonna do about it?" Right? Like there's Galio taunt. Yeah, there's Vel'Koz who can knock him away, but as soon as he's in, it's tough to get him out.
God, I am praying that Speedy goes lethality this game.
Yeah, it's
I am
gonna be
hoping and praying. I really don't think he's gonna go on hit, especially now. I mean, how are you getting
yeah,
on this team first of all? Like, how are you
yeah,
getting in range
totally.
to auto attack? Like, you have Volley, you have Sand Soldiers, you have Rammus that's just gonna be ulting onto you, and then you got Camille on top of that. Like, you definitely want to window these guys down first. You want to make them wither a little bit before you are able to do that, that crazy play like we were talking about with the potential Master Yi Galio combo. So, as
Yeah.
we once again see another remake
Yeah,
in
remake.
draft.
That wasn't supposed to be Lux. That was supposed to be Galio. What is happening with the draft today?
Yeah, it looks
But
like
no, yeah, I
there's a
do
little bit of some
wanna
Riot Games happening here
yeah, it does look
today.
like it. I do kind of want to echo what you were saying, where it's going to be really interesting to see how these kind of two drafts are going to play out against each other. Because I think both teams kind of want to do a little bit of running in themselves, but how do you keep something like the Yi off of the Ashe and the Azir? How do you keep the Rammus off of your back line? And ultimately, it's going to be a matter of setup. It's going to be a matter of vision. Who's going to have the priority on these neutral objectives? Who's going to have the priority in lane? And at the moment, even with how confused we kind of are with the TSH comp, at the moment they're the ones that have been making the moves. They have the priority in the lane. They're rotating that priority into the jungle support for the neutral objectives, whether that's bot lane, whether that's mid lane, and they're constantly looking for these plays. So if we want SOS to be able to respond with something like the Rammus, they need to be playing as a team. They need to be on the same page with the top laner, with the mid laner, with the bot lane.
Right. And once again, like we were talking about, that just engage potential here from the side of SOS. I mean, you have Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you have
Sure.
the
Yeah.
Hextech ultimatum on top of that. You have Rammus ulti. You have the Shurima shuffle, right? Sandy has been one of those people that have been good for great Azir engages here in TCL. So
Totally.
it looks standard, it looks cookie cutter from the side of SOS, but I mean, really, man, like this is actually kind of an exciting game if you think about it.
So I think it
Um,
works,
a lot of
and
playmaking from everyone.
And I think TSH might be feeling themselves a little bit too much. So this might be the time for SOS to be able to capitalize on that. They have strong mentals. They've proven that over the course of the entire season. They won their first series last week, so I definitely wouldn't count them out of the series just yet. And with the comfort that they've been able to draft, especially with Lyle Wall getting his kind of signature Camille, we kind of glossed over that, but man is finally able to get his Camille, and we'll see if he's able to kind of take over this top lane. We know that they're going to try and play for him. We know they're going to try and get him to get that gold advantage because he's just going to be able to run at them, and that's kind of how he likes to play the game. But uh, onus is going to be on music for sure. Where
Yeah,
man is on the trundle this time around, and he needs to be the one to be able to kind of hang in there in the top lane.
for sure. I mean, Lyle Walt, once again, right? You talk about that signature Camille pick. Arguably his best pick. He'll probably contest you on that, but I definitely think that Camille is up there with that player in particular. Has always
Yeah,
been a very
totally.
consistent pick. He's never really had a bad game on it, to my
Mhm.
knowledge. And once again, that is a true damage Attack on Titan shredder, right? Like
Yeah.
this guy is getting on you if you don't have flash, if you are Speedy Bandito, if you are Coach, unless you use the Alpha Strike, good timing. I
Oh,
mean, they do have a lot of good peel tools. Looking at
mhm.
this, like they have the pillar, they have Chains of Corruption, right? They have
Yeah.
the Alpha Strike to buy some time. But again, right? There's just so many tools at SOS's disposal that they just outdrafted them in almost every single way possible.
But additionally, one thing that we kind of didn't necessarily consider is this Master Yi getting onto the back line. I mean, coach knows what he's doing, and hopefully, if Camille is not the one that's diving, she will actually offer an additional utility in that as soon as he comes out of that alpha, she can ult him. Right
That is
now,
true.
all that movement speed, all that dodge ability is stuck in that little window there. So, there's definitely a few ways that Lau can play this. That's not I'm not saying that's necessarily a style. I could definitely see him just not quite making use of that side of things because he wants to go in and kill the Vel'Koz. But that is still a dimension of the draft as well.
Yeah, for sure. As it looks like we did get all the bans coming through, it looks like we are going to potentially have this be the final draft
I think we're
of
good.
this game in particular. I think, fingers crossed, Riot Games has blessed us tonight as SOS locks in the Milio being the last pick, and
Fifth time's a
Galio
charm.
picked up. Yep, third time's the charm, baby. There it is. The drafts have been locked
Yeah.
in. It is a beautiful time to be alive. And AI Box, I mean, I gotta tell you, man, my money is already on the side of SOS. I think it's a much more
I think so.
comfortable draft.
Yeah.
I would be confident playing this draft in particular, especially if I am Boobly, because I know that I not only can make plays, but if my team decides to step up and make the plays, all I have to do is just follow up.
And
All I'm
I'm
gonna
with you. I want to see a game three. I'm pulling for SOS in this one. I want a TCL special 50-minute banger, triple inhib, 17 Elder Dragons. Just make this as interesting of as a game as possible. But ultimately it's going to be a matter of who's going to be able to control and snowball the game as much as they can. And especially with old Greg on something like the Melio, he is taking the heal against something like the Speedy Clover matchup in this Varus Galio bot lane. They got to be careful, and if they get snowballed on, Speedy's definitely the type of carry that can take over as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Speedy has always been a wild card player.
Yeah,
In a
for
lot
sure,
of
for sure.
TCL seasons since his debut, a lot of people kind of looked at him and was like, "What the hell?" Like, even sometimes we like to be like, "Oh yeah, like Renan's Hurricane first item, haha, like XD,"
Yeah,
right? But I mean, the builds aside, this player is mechanically sound. I mean,
absolutely.
mechanically and laning prowess. I mean, like this dude is a good player.
Mhm.
It's just it's the builds that sometimes he cooks in the lab are very off-putting and off guard, and it's not like I am free of that.
No, everyone wants to cook.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at last season, right? I busted out the
Yeah.
tank Zeri and then got one shot by Elusive. So sometimes, hey man, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes it
Uh,
happens. Yeah,
shout out to the recent two-time 80 carry champion in Elusive. As we have about 2 minutes time to get into this game,
yeah.
and I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to put myself in these players' shoes here on the side of TSH into exactly that, exactly how they have to play this one because, like we said, they do have really good peel tools. I just
Mhm.
think Coach in particular, what he needs to look forward to in these fights is the taunt, right?
Yeah,
The Rammus taunt. That's going to
absolutely.
be the most important ability in these team fights for him because if he is able to get a flank off and Microscopic Rick just goes a little bit too far, like you said, he
He's
is
just
going to
gonna
be able
run
to
right
get
by
into
him.
that back line. Yeah, he's just
Yeah.
going to run right by them. He's going to alpha strike, over the really crucial abilities, right? If coach is as sound on Master Yi as people has been saying, this is a really good time for him to prove it. But for sure, man. I mean, I look at this draft and it just screams ego.
Yeah, I
Which
agree.
which which isn't necessarily a
Yeah, no.
bad thing. It's just it's unorthodox, right? It's something that not a whole lot of teams are willing to do, especially in a game two scenario.
Well, one thing that's interesting is that how these kind of pit fights, whether it's Dragon Pit, whether it's Baron Pit, is going to play out. You have to think that it's going to be really tough to take a neutral objective in the face of Team Shai Halud. Between something like the Master Yi and the Galio coming over top, obviously Vel'Koz is impossible to play in a choke point against. But when you kind of look at what Snake Oil Salesmen want to do is maybe they are more comfortable just getting engaged on. Maybe they don't necessarily want Camille and the Rammus to be running into the middle of the fight. Like you're saying, if the Trundle, if the Master Yi are able to get past that scary front line, then they have free reign on the back line. So I kind of am with you there. It's going to be tough to see exactly how both teams want to be playing out these team fights because there's definitely multiple ways that it can go. So a lot of it's going to depend on setup, a lot of it's going to depend on vision, and a lot of it's going to depend on which one of these teams makes the first move.
Absolutely. And one last thing as we get into the game here that I do want to touch up on as the game is loading in. Control is not on a playmaker this time.
But
Control is
he's going to pop off though. You just know it.
Yeah, I mean, I have that feeling in my jellies, right?
Yeah.
But I will say, like he's not on Ari this time.
Yeah.
He can't
Totally.
really be the big playmaker. He has to be like the, la-di-da mage in the back line, right? Just kind of being like, all right, team, I'm gonna throw a giant laser, and
Yep.
and good luck. Like he's not able to get active, like we did see in game one. But like you said, man, we're gonna have to see. It is game number 2 here of SOS versus TSH. Will TSH be able to close it out with this composition? I'm certainly excited to see as we are getting into the starting defensive positions once again from both sides. Doesn't really look like they're going to be looking for an invade. I don't really see the possibility for either team to look for an
Totally.
invade.
Yeah.
I mean, you could with Clover, right? Do you have the taunt or the Justice Punch available to them? But don't think it's going to happen. Pretty much standard stuff as Control actually gets a
Ooh,
nice poke there on the sand.
geometry.
Yeah! I was about to say, this dude ace geometry class. What a huge skill
Oh
shot
man.
off rip there from Control, already getting into Sandy Snake's head
Yeah, he's got to
potentially.
be feeling good about himself on that one. Already landing that first Q onto Sandy Snake. He does have the fleet footwork. He's going to be going for the sustain a little bit, but man, he's just going to base. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to take this here.
He sent a message, man, and I
Yeah,
respect the hell out
exactly.
of that. I really do. I respect that so much. As taking a look at the runes, pretty standard stuff all across the board. PTA on Ash, like you said, the fleet footwork on Sandy, Microscopic Rick, and Lyle Walt, respectively, running green trees, and their respective slots, and Speedy Bandito running the Hail of Blades, which tells me that it's probably going to be a
Signals.
lethality.
Yeah,
Varus,
exactly.
right?
I would agree with that. That's definitely the rune that we see for that lethality build and get the stacks up, light up as fast as you can and get the heck out. But junglers crucially going with a very similar start as we saw before, but this time instead of starting bot side and ending top, they're starting top side and ending bottom. So both mirrored, both must have had vision of each other as they were going into their camps to start that out.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Clear's looking pretty standard here from both junglers as Control gets another beautiful
Great poke.
Poke onto Sandy, just making this lane look easy, making this champion look easy. Lawalk going to be able to get a grasp proc. Speed Bandito going to rain down the arrows onto Greg. Going to potentially be looking for the first push here. Going to get level 2 right here. Could potentially look to get active, but Boobly and old Greg going to be able to respect that one. So very good stuff from the side of the SOS bot lane so far. Potentially looking for a freeze. Would love to see that. Control missing another Q. Actually, I think that's the first Q he's missed so far.
Yeah, the man has just been on it. Fortunately, Sandy has both of his pots, just really getting up by with that fleet footwork sustain.
Yeah,
But
very
like
good
as you were
adaptation from
saying
Sandy.
in the bot lane, like this matchup is super dependent on just making sure you space out the Galio, making sure you space out the Varus, because I mean Ash's auto attack range is really quite long. So if Boobly is able to kind of space it correctly, not get hard engaged on by this Galio, that's definitely something where they can not just survive, but they can definitely thrive in this lane. But here's a gank.
Yeah, here it is. Microscopic Rick going to be able to potentially try to draw first blood here into Jazz. Does get the taunt available, but Jazz does have the ghost available to him. Going to be able to just walk
so
that
fast.
one right off. Very well done here from Microscopic Rick to be able to have that discipline to not try to blow the flash early. We've seen a lot of Rammuses, both in solo queue and also in TCL historically, being able to just be like, all right, I'm flashing in, I'm going in, like I'm going to catch him off guard. But no, we actually see that patience, we see that respect is now Boobly going to be able to get a little active here on the Speedy Bandito. The raining arrows coming down. Boobly, yeah, looking for a lot of damage, but Clover potentially looking for the Justice Punch here, but will actually use the taunt first. It could potentially be disastrous here for the side of SOS. Boobly has Flash, but just decides not to use it for some reason. It's First Blood going over to Speedy Bandito, a potential double kill. Looking here, but it will not be anything. It's actually, hold on, Coach looking for a beautiful dive. The tower's warmed up. He may actually get an execute. Yes. He will get an execute. No. It's just disaster already for SOS.
Oh my god, and all the little raptors.
Oh no. Dude, they're just better.
There could not have been a worse sequence of like 30 seconds for SOS, unfortunately. I mean, you look top to bottom, man. Jazz with a really nice pillar, preventing that gank from fully coming to fruition. Livewalt still has the ignite, so he didn't use it during that top lane fight. But pillaring the Rammus spin, making sure that he doesn't get hit by that piece of CC. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Boobly just kind of gave up on the chase on Speedy Bandito a little bit too early. You're Ashe, you run him down. You have PTA, you do so much damage there. So instead of taking advantage of the 1v2, they kind of waffled, and they kind of started to pull out a little bit too early. And and Clover didn't have to expend any sums, or outside of the ignite, just walks up, presses taunt, and the Ashe is dead. And in the meantime, on the Raptor camp, Control walks up, gets the perfect vision to just press W one time and swipe all of the little Raptors from Microscopic Rick. So it's just disaster across the board.
Dude, it is actually just such the biggest feels bad man of all time.
Oh,
I think
no.
TCL is now. Clover once again. Just, again, third summoner spell gaming here from the side of Clover. Always where he needs to be at the exact right time. Going to be able to pick up that kill and get another kill on the board. Get an assist, excuse me, for Coach and the Dragon to boot. So, I mean, so let's talk about that bot lane play for a second here, AI, because you were talking about the waffling, right? You were talking about that boost of confidence, and then that waffle, and then that boost of confidence again in the very last section of the fight. I'm not exactly sure if Boobly thought that through the exhaust and the cozy campfire that he was going to be able to out-trade Speedy Bandito, but if you know anything about League of Legends, it's that Ignite is a grievous wound summoner spell. Right? And that really cuts your healing in half, especially when the healing is more so for the extended range and not so much for the healing. Like, you're not really using Cozy Campfire just for the healing. You're using it to be able to harass and to be able to get that passive damage off. You know, Boobly just kind of sat there and was like, all right, like, you know, like a I'd win scenario, and then just got absolutely bodied. So not really looking, you know, not really what you want in the early stages of the game, but still has Flash available to them, and the barrier is going to be back up to boot. So not the biggest loss, just down 4 CS, but really is like a questionable play on the side of the SOS bot lane.
Yeah, and as far as the neutral objectives go, we're kind of seeing a mirror of what we saw last game, right? Early take from on the Dragon from Coach, and Rick is a little bit late rotating on these grubs. If he had been on grubs as soon as they were spawning, there would have been no contest available to him, and now it's a little bit dicey. The Camille's there, and Sandy Snakes has no prio in his lane.
Yeah, but they are crucially going to be. Yeah, it looks like they're going to get grubs, though. SOS going to be able to get that early pickup, which will be very, very good for Lyle Walt, especially when you want to be able to have those isolated 1v1s. Did not take the flash here. Lyle Walt does have Ignite available to him, so even more combat power for those 1v1 scenarios. Boobly and Greg could potentially be in some trouble, as now here it is, the flash! Right into the taunt, into the waiting arms of Clove. Speedy Bandito actually not being able to get that kill. That was actually very sad from the side of Speedy. Does have the Corrupted Chains available to him now. Could potentially look for an engage here onto Boobly, getting some more damage, but it looks like they're just going to play it a little bit slow. Going to be able to get that recall off. Okay, so very good save from Greg. Actually didn't even need to use the heal either. Literally just used the Cozy Campfire and the shield to be able to get himself out of there.
Yeah, that second charge on his shield it really saved him there.
Yeah, that was the big one, right? That second charge of the shield, and you know, I just think Clove played that really well. It's just really unlucky.
And don't forget, like Varus's E also applies Grievous Wounds as well, so they do have.
That's correct. That is correct.
Grievous Wounds. So
yeah, good call out. You know, a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. And I think, especially in a lane like this against Emilio, it's pretty heads up. Being able to just kind of place that, especially since it's just a huge AoE. And it's a slow, which is always nice. But yeah, I'm very surprised. I think Speedy started to turn to the Ashe too early. He assumed that the...
that's not corrupt. The chain's actually going to be going right on the Boobly. Has flash available, but does not have the barrier. As now Clovis looking to get active. Coach going to be able to get right out of that tower and just run away. Meditates right in front of them. It is a kill for Speedy Bandito. Once again, 2 kills now up onto the bot lane of SOS. And, you know, we were talking about this composition, like, okay, how do they actually play this? But Microscopic Rick has had 1 gank so far. To my knowledge, I have only seen him pull off 1 gank here, and the rest has been power farming. As Holdbath thought, I'm old Greg. This point, he's just a kid, guys. Leave him alone. Justice punch right to the face, and it's another kill going over to Clover. As now we have a scuffle on the top side. Lyle Walt actually able to get a return kill onto Jazz. Remember when I said that Microscopic Rick wasn't able to get active? Yeah. I mean, he's right there. He's always there. Let's take a look at this replay right here. The ultimate coming off the Hextech Ultimatum, a beautiful taunt. And that's just all she wrote. Very well played from the side of SOS to return that.
But we kind of mentioned this at the beginning of last game, where this is the game plan for TSH. They know where they want to go. They want to go bot lane. They have a lot of prio there, and they want to feast on it. It's even more so the case now when you have a Master Yi as your jungler, right? He knows where the gold is, and the gold is bottom lane, so he will be appearing bottom lane to collect his gold. And it only seems to be continuing to get worse as it goes on.
Wait, hold on a second. Sandy Snake actually missing the Shurima Shuffle there. Actually barely gets out with his life. That was a very ballsy play from Sandy Snake, but if it did work, it would have been a beautiful play, but unfortunately just wasn't able to get that. One of the things as well, AI Box, sorry to cut you off there on that play.
Yeah, that was a crazy play.
But, I mean, look at the CS lead to mid lane as well.
Yep.
From Control, right? We were talking about that dominance, right? You were talking about that. Yeah, he's just
arrow.
gonna pop out. Hold on a second, the arrow! Could potentially just barely!
So
but hold on a second, Microscopic Rick is not done. He knows that Control does not have the flash, as now it looks a little dicey for him. Gonna have to be able to use the E to get out. Just very slow. Clovis right there. The 3rd summoner spell is available to Control, and he does get it once again. Sandy Snake on the wrong side of this fight as Coach just says hello and goodbye. It is another pick for TSH, and man, they're just playing these comps and these skirmishes so damn well.
And what were we saying about that bot lane rotation? Clover is just absolutely everywhere on this Galio.
He's everywhere.
He's not even 6. He hasn't even had to press R yet because he doesn't have it. It's crazy. And all this bot lane prio that Coach has been able to get, that Speedy Bandito and Clover, frankly, on their own have been able to get, it's really translating into these neutral objectives, and it's translating into these mid plays, right? And they're just starting to accelerate the game in a way that SOS really can't afford to have it accelerated.
Oh my goodness, absolute support kingdom here. From the side of TSH is now another scuffle on the top side. Uses the Frozen Domain and the Frozen Pillar to be able to get out of that sticky situation. Lyle Walt actually pretty even in CS right now with Jazz, which being a kill up is something you wouldn't expect. Jazz does have a freeze opportunity available to him as well here now. I think it actually went to his tower, so won't be able to get that opportunity off once again, as now Speedy Bandito getting a huge chunk there out of Boobly. As the Yobo's Ghostblade now.
They're trying to contest these grubs here.
Oh, wait, yeah, you're absolutely right. This could be a fight. Coach walking just a little bit far forward. Does get taunted immediately. It actually is looking good here. The Alpha Strike and a beautiful swipe. The Hextech Ultimatum coming out here for Lyle Walt. A beautiful Shurima Shuffle there from Sandy Snake. Now being able to turn that fight, but Lyle Walt just getting a little bit dicey. A beautiful Enchanted Crystal Arrow as well. The Justice Punch. Control getting another kill onto Sandy Snake, and Lyle Walt is forced to run for his life. As now he gets the Q off, gets that little bit of a shield, but the Frozen Pillar cuts him off just a little bit as the Blast Plane available to him. The Frozen Domain once again, the beautiful attack on Titan. Shenanigans here.
No way!
Oh my god!
So close.
Clover!
Oh, he actually almost got out.
At the last second.
Oh man, I mean, they did blow a lot of cooldowns and unfortunately didn't layer their CC very effectively on Coach. They kind of got a lot of it at the same time, and as a result, Coach was able to Alpha Strike, stall it out a little bit more, and the entire time, Trundle is just kind of smacking.
Once again, hold on, the action doesn't stop here. So now Microscopic Rick going to be looking for a little scuffle here. Does get one to Jazz. Coach has to be careful though. He's hitting himself right now. The Alpha Strike coming in, and he just dies to Sandy Snake. There it is.
I love it.
There's
incredible.
Oh, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself, Coach? What's going on, man? I thought you were strong. I thought you were jungle kingdoming me right now. I thought you were the jungle gap. Nope, I pressed one button and there goes your health bar. A beautiful play from SOS to be able to convert that very sad looking that tilting play there into Void Grubs immediately right off the bat.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the game gets turned on ahead. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. The cold lead is still quite unfortunate right now for SOS, but it's definitely something that here's a play. Oh my gosh.
Oh, would you look who it is? It's the man, the myth, the legend. It is Clover now once again looking for another play, but here comes Microscopic Rick using the ultimate right there, and then it's a shutdown for him. Clover actually getting a little bit too aggressive there on
Sandy
that
might
play.
die.
Yeah, Sandy, potentially could be dying here. You're absolutely right. He will have the shuffle potentially available to him, but here comes Microscopic Rick to be able to save him. So Sandy stay. No, just get to kill both. It's gonna be a double kill for Control here in the mid lane. Oh my god! And here comes Lyle Walt once again. A beautiful Q. Does not have the E available to him, but Control surely will fall. A nice E, and there it is. The shutdown there for Lyle Walt. Very crucial that he was able to pick up that one. Dude, there's just I cannot keep up with this game.
This is the exact opposite of what we saw in terms of kills in the last game. I think at this point we had like 3 kills in the last game, and now we have 18. But man, Control, what an absolute monster. Was that worth it? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yes.
It's hard to say.
Okay,
but
and
they
here's
give a
why.
huge shutdown over.
I'll tell you exactly why. Right? I mean, look at Control's farm right now. Okay,
Right, yes.
Control has TP advantage now. Okay, he is 3 kills up. He's a boatload of CS ahead. Like, he's 2 levels up on Sandy Snake. That was absolutely worth. Like, this dude is just in his head with Vel'Koz, of all champions, right? One of those champions that we haven't historically seen a whole lot of in TCL, because, you know, it's one of those champions where it's like, you know, hit the skill shots or basically lose. You know, kind of like a more advanced Xerath, to be honest with you. And Control is just putting on an absolute cinema here in the mid lane.
Oh, it's going to be a huge tank down here in the bot lane. But yeah, like you were saying with Control, that this man is going to single-handedly make Rammus build like only MR from here on out. Rammus is going to be like, there are 3 AD, but maybe I should build some MR. As man, that 1Q just chunks old Greg, and he might just be in a little bit of trouble. Now he's fine. Oh man, this is so scary.
Okay, hold on a second. Lyle Wall actually going with the Hextech Ultimatum. A nice, beautiful Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Clover being able to cover it. Microscopic
That's huge.
That's a huge pickup there for the side of SOS. Is now Clover looking for a little bit more. Does not find it. A beautiful Shurima shuffle from Sandy. Boobly being getting able to pick up that kill as now the volley comes out, and the Dragon is just in time for SOS. So well played by them. Dude, you know, we talk about all these really individual talented plays from the side of TSH. And then SOS just comes in and says, hey, watch this.
What a
every single
play.
time.
Yeah.
Like, very heads up on Lyle Walt there to actually just make that move onto Control, see that angle, right? And to be able to just blow him up. I mean, take a look at the itemization now from Lyle Walt. Having that Trinity Force and Tiamat available to him, he's going to be able to pick up that Ravenous Hydra very soon here, which is going to make him even stronger in the side lane as TSH picks up the Rift Herald now. So not really bad, but TSH once again crucially up almost 4k
Oh, Control
gold
might get caught here again.
Oh my goodness, Control once again has no flash. Sandy Snake sees the angle. Microscopic Rick as well gets the nice taunt on them, and there it is.
Huge.
Microscopic Rick getting another kill. Kind of wish it was going to Sandy though, but still a great heads up play, a great pick from the side of SOS.
Yeah, and we were just talking up Control. Oh my god, don't tell me.
Yeah, hold that thought. Shirelli is being popped there. Clover actually misses the taunt there. It gets canceled by the Milio Q, as now Coach looking for a potential play here, but the taunt to save Greg! It's a beautiful play! SOS, once again, just making these very, like, skirmishy plays work. Right when, right when all of them were working at the beginning of this game for TSH, SOS is just doing a great job at weathering the storm and being there.
And where do I even begin? Like, all of a sudden, we've gone from a 4k gold lead to like a 1.5k gold lead. These plays have really gotten SOS back into the game, and this Master Yi just has not been able to perform what he needs to do in the context of this game. And like I said, where do I even begin? But we watched Control go from 4-0 to 4-3 very, very quickly. I mean, and that play in the jungle has just spiraled into more and more and more, where every time he gets back, whether Lyle's there, whether Rick's there, there's always that horrible nightmare looking over their shoulder, ready to kill Control. So And then in that mid lane play, I want to shout
Hold
out
on a
Old
second,
Greg.
Jazz and
Oh my God.
Lyle Walt just getting a little bit of a tussle there. Lyle Walt
way.
using the Hextech ultimate will be able to get the best of that one. Coach does not have the Ghost available to him, does not have the ulti available either. Lyle Walt's just going to be able to take that free kill and walk away. So
Nice
a
dive.
big slap in the face right into Jazz there, being able to use the E there, to use the Frozen Pillar to his advantage and get that kill. So well played from Lyle Walt. And like we said, right, this is a signature Lyle Walt pick. This man knows how to pilot this Camille. And so when you
So
put
good
him
at
in a
it.
dominating position like this, it starts to get a little dicey, and I'm not exactly sure who's going to be able to match him later on.
It has to be something like the Master Yi, but Master Yi really doesn't want to do that. But once the game goes long enough, it definitely can be the Trundle. If he's able to get back into this game a little bit, get something like a Hole Breaker, get the split push going, or like a Bork, I don't know. I'm not sure what the correct one in this situation when you're this far behind is, but it's definitely possible. But I think the bigger concern is where this E is going to go as the game kind of continues. Like, what's going to happen? How's he going to be able to play these team fights? And Clover just takes a huge chunk there. My
Clover
God.
just sat there and took it.
Yeah.
I respect that. I respect that so much. Lesser men would not have gone for that ward.
Yeah.
Right there.
One thing I want to shout out is actually Old Greg's play on the Melio during that when they were diving the Ashe Melio. He was able to actually push the Galio away during his taunt, which meant that Galio once again had no taunt, just Justice Punch for the dive, and that completely changed the complexion of how that dive went. As a result, they were under the tower for much longer, and the Rammus was able to get there in time to be able to support and then get that taunt.
Yeah, Enchanted Crystal Arrow, as you were talking there, goes just a little bit wide, as we see. We like to. There's a saying for that actually. AI Box in the LEC of all places. It's called Crownie's Comet.
We don't recognize that region.
Oh yeah, you're right. Absolutely. What is a kilometer? AI Box is now.
They're looking for it.
Speaking of how many kilometers an hour is Microscope Rick going here on this dive? As now Lyle Walt getting taunted once again under the old tower. Clove getting a beautiful Justice Punch. Oh my goodness, Coach almost gets that kill, but once again it is Clover that picks it up. Boobly is just sitting there and autoing, trying to get any sort of damage onto Coach, and that's a really big shutdown. As hold that thought, Speedy Bandito actually just gonna cue the wave. So that's a big shutdown. That's a really big pickup.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true. Control is actually split pushing this game.
Yeah, excellent ult from the Galio, but also excellent pillar from Jazz. What had happened was Lyle Walt was just about out of range of the Galio ult, and Trundle just pillars him back, keeps him in, so by the time he's able to get out with the Galio, the Justice Punch, and the taunt, he's already taken his entire health bar from the tower. So really heads up play, great support, and great patience on holding that pillar from the Trundle.
Very well played there from the side of Jazz and the rest of TSH here to be able to get that pick on the Lyle Walt. They are now understanding who is the most important member, I guess, currently of the squad. I mean, all those members are important, right? You have Sandy that's slowly scaling up, right? It's going to be able to get that. Leandri is available to them very soon. There's a lot to do here for the side of SOS, but Lyle Walt is definitely the one with the target on his head, as could potentially look for a hero play here. Microscopic Rick is starting to rev up. He's looking for a potential steal. Will he get it? The answer is absolutely no, as another kill goes the way of TSH, who actually picked up that one. I don't think we actually saw who picked up that one. Either that or I have no eyes, but you know where their eyes are going, though, AI Box. It's going straight
to that Baron, like you said, and they're going to be able to chew through this Baron very quickly between the Trundle and the Master Yi and the Vel'Koz. They have great zoning potential, but they also have a great ability to just burn it down, so they have to be very wary of this Baron take. But they do have Hawk shots, so they will hopefully always have eyes on it.
That is true. The Baron actually doing a lot of damage here, but they do have a lot of damage in return to the Baron if they want to do it, but they're just going to decide to not. Speedy Bandito, he's been kind of quiet this series ever since those two kills, but hold that thought. Lyle Walt could potentially be looking for something, decides to not do it. Great E from him to be able to get out of that situation. Speedy Bandito actually could have been caught.
Yeah.
He did have the opportunity to use that Chain of Corruption right onto Lyle Walt, but I actually think that fight goes south for them if they do that. So.
Oh my gosh! Wait, Clover with the AP support item. I didn't notice until now.
Wait, he
did?
Oh
man, what a Chad! Yeah. And one thing we actually didn't quite go over in that last fight was the fact that Control, once again on this Vel'Koz, had a great play where he just kind of sat in the bush and was able to force the flash out of Sandy Snake. So now no flash on the Azir.
Yeah, very well
But
played
yeah,
once again
we
from
got
Control.
AP Clover for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
AP
he
Clover
has
take a
the
chat.
he has support items. Don't get me wrong, but did go the support support item. That's AP.
I
So
love that.
definitely happy with the aftershock. Happy with the ability to just kind of stay alive, but definitely kind of interesting.
And you know, it's just it's hard to quantify this game because of how close that it's been, right? Like it's pretty much been a 2K deficit, you know, a 2K stretch for these teams off the jump. Both teams have been firing back and forth, you know, kind of going tit for tat here. When you think one person has a play, another person is right there to back it up. You know, these have just been two incredibly bloodbathy teams. As now the Enchanted Crystal Arrow just goes a little bit wide. Good attempt from Boobly to be able to try to get that kill onto Speedy Bandito, who does not have cleanse. You know, that's something that we didn't actually really talk about and touch on much, is that Speedy doesn't have cleanse and he doesn't have QSS
He's
yet.
hubris. What a guy.
Yeah, he does have hubris. It's funny. I actually was going to touch up on that.
Yeah, but it's second out of hubris. He went the Yomus first.
That is true.
what a crazy guy.
No Manamune either, so not really going to be able to spam those arrows.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This man just cooks.
He does do some cooking. As now, speaking of cooking, Lyle Walt gonna have to try to cook that
was
one.
not patient.
Yeah, was not patient enough there. Great escape from Lyle Walt to be able to get off of that 4-man dive there, or that 4-man gank. But Microscopic Rick potentially looking for something, trying to get on Speedy Bandito, but does find Jazz instead. So the ultimate used there. There could be a potential play here for Baron. Control is bot side, going to be able to recall and does have that TP available to him. Shadow Flame and Blackfire Torch completed as well. So that Vel'Koz, you know, very proactive early game, taking a second to just kind of relax, you know, farm it up a little bit, create some pressure, get some items, you know, the standard scaling affair.
He's strong.
But he's strong, but so is Sandy now. Like, Sandy's pretty strong as well. I would, yeah, I would argue he might even be just a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I mean, as the game goes on, it's definitely going to be a matter of like how these teams are able to set up more so than the individual strength of these things. But I kind of want to point out that play was ultimately pretty positive for Snake Oil Salesman, because you look at what happened. Like Trundle, if he had held his pillar just a little bit longer, you really got to hold your pillar for Camille after she goes for that E. But he just wasn't quite patient enough, tried to get a little bit greedy with using it early. And as a result, Camille gets out. And then on the backside, when Microscopic Rick comes in on the Rammus, he's able to force the flash out of Speedy Bandito. So ultimately, like what looks like a proactive play from TSH ultimately turns into a pretty positive play for Snake Oil Salesman. So I think that'll matter, especially since we have the next Dragon coming up very, very soon.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there. There's a lot of micro adjustments that these teams have been making. To really push that narrative of like, okay, I'm mechanically better, or no, I'm mechanically better.
Run into him.
Yeah. He did have. Wait, hold on a second. Microscopic Rick getting a little active, decides to back away. Did have that Oracle Lens active, so that was an absolute blessing in disguise. As now Lyle Walt goes a little bit deep here. The TP is available to Jazz as they start to look for a potential fight right in front of this Dragon. This is going to be very crucial. The Shurelia's popping, not going to be able to get anything off as well. The Dragon is here, and it is Hex Tech. So both teams definitely wanted to get that one. A very strong soul to be able to acquire if you are either side. Is now Glove actually getting a nice taunt on the Lyle Wall, but I don't think that's the one you want currently. Microscopic Rick looking to start the fight off. He's a fast boy. Sandy Snake.
Here's this poke coming in though.
Yep, there it is. Sandy Snake getting poked there. Speedy Bandito, you know, he doesn't have the Manamune, so he's not able to poke much, but man, if he lands it, it is gonna hurt. As now Coach starting to kick off the Dragon here. Microscopic Rick is revving up. He's looking to go. That could have been a potential opportunity, but decides not to go. It's just an absolute Western standoff here from both sides. The poke starting to come through. SOH is actually backing off. Level Wall decides to pull the trigger onto Speedy Bandito, but a taunt is right there, and there it is.
Flash.
It's a shutdown for Sandy Snake. Lyle Wall, keep your eyes on him. He's looking for the play onto Clove. A beautiful E. The Hextech ultimatum coming out there.
Oh my goodness.
But Jazz and Control are trying to weather the storm. They're trying to get that fight. Jazz does get the better half of Microscopic Rick, but crucially, both junglers are down. This is looking pretty net positive here for the side of SOS, but you have to be so careful of that really healthy Vel'Koz that's just sitting there trying to hit those Qs onto you. They do have the potential utility to get onto it, as now Lyle Walt looks to get a little bit of a cheeky E onto Jazz. Will not happen, is now blue team ends up getting it. So SOS being able to get the better half of that fight. well played by them, but man, it was looking really dicey with all that poke coming out from TSH.
Man, Tosi, like you said, it is on a razor's edge here. I mean, I feel like all our predictions are kind of coming true here. You look at how these team fights are kind of playing out. Speedy with no flash just gets caught and immediately nuked right from the start. But meanwhile, Coach running onto the back line and isn't quite able to nuke anybody with this build. Sandy Snake flashes over the wall, helps out his bot lane, and they are able to kind of eliminate him before he's able to get his resets really going. So it's going to be a question of when these fights get disjointed, who has the damage threshold to be able to follow it out. But man, what were we talking about with Vel'Koz in these pits? It is so dangerous. It is so scary to try and take an objective, especially with no jungler when there's a Vel'Koz on the other side. But SOS managed it quite well. We're able to stay alive and get that objective and keep them off of Soul for a little bit longer.
Absolutely, and as we have the camera on Lyle Walt, we have to talk about the agency that this man has in this game currently. You know, we're talking about all these pokes and you know, all this damage coming out from both Varus and the Vel'Koz on the side of Control and Speedy Bandito, but it's not going to matter if there's a Camille that just true shot Qs you for 1,000 damage, right? And Hextech ultimatum over your really important utility, right?
Yeah,
so
this isn't a one-shot build.
Oh,
this
hold
is
that thought here.
Ooh.
Oh, never mind. I saw the Rammus go in, and the Rammus just went out, so carry on.
Yeah, I think he was just making sure he was covering his AD carry, but Boobly on the Ashe, 2, 3, and 3 definitely has his item core that's kind of coming along, but one thing I'd like to see is I'd like them to see, oh, that pink ward doesn't see that ward. That
oh my God,
that is not being canceled, so yeah,
Oh,
that's completely giving vision of that entire bush.
my
So
gosh. Yeah,
really,
Clove doesn't
really
know.
nice. Yeah, Clover definitely doesn't know. So great work.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so ever since they widened it a little bit, that's been something you have to keep an eye out as a support. Definitely been victim of that before, and definitely something that can definitely be pivotal in a game. That's so much vision that single ward offers there.
Oh, hold on.
as we get a pause.
Jazz has left the building, ladies and gentlemen. Jazz has DC'd. There will be a pause coming through here to remedy whatever issue Jazz is currently doing. Oh, okay, we're good.
He's
Never
back.
mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Probably a little bit of a Spectrum debuff there. Shout out to my Spectrum enjoyers. Or not enjoyers, depending on your internet service provider.
Oh, we see Kanik, Rooker, and into Frozen Heart for this Rick Rammus. It is crazy.
Oh, gorgeous. I love that heads-up adaptation.
Yeah.
There from Microscopic Rick. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Very heads-up.
sure. Yeah, he's
Heart.
shrugging off that poke from the Vel'Koz, and he's really kind of annihilating what this Trundle and Master Yi do best. I mean, granted, Master Yi's immune to slows, but still. Yeah, still, at least it's going to be able to work on this Trundle. You know, it's going to be something that's going to be a really fantastic utility tool.
Dude, I'm so impressed by that ward. I can't stop it. Like, you see all
There
the
it is,
pings-
yep, and that's the difference.
The dude had no idea what was happening. Has to expend the flash for that as well. Clover's left wondering what the hell just happened. How did they know?
That man was sitting in that bush for like a minute, and all of a sudden he's like, "What?"
Wow. Dude, yeah, man. If you're looking to climb, you know, and you're playing support, definitely always sweep that. Or if you're lower
Or
elos,
just
do
place
that
the
ward.
pink ward a little bit lower in the bush.
sure.
Don't place it all the way back like that.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Don't
lesson
do that
learned.
ward. But that's really cool. I love that little cheeky interaction there. As
One of the things I like is actually, oh, they're doing the Baron. Actually.
oh, okay,
my
so
goodness.
Speedy just used Chain of Corruption. I don't know if you saw that, but that is a big ultimate not available to Speedy Bandito.
They do
He
it
Chain
slow.
of Corruption, the red buff there. Unfortunate misclick from him, but it looks like they're not actually going to look for the Baron here. And it's funny because SOS actually has no clue that the Chain of Corruption was just used there.
Yeah, I mean, how could you?
Exactly, right? So they're just
Yeah.
going to assume that everything's up, but...
Yeah. Oh man,
little
this
bit of a-
split push from Lyle is a menace, though. It's really
yeah.
starting to get pretty exciting. Oh my god, he's just eating this tower. What happened to it?
Oh my gosh.
gone.
Spear Sojin, yeah. Spear Sojin doing its work as now Sandy Snake has to run for the hills. Microscopic Rick potentially looking for something on the backside here to get some sort of pick, to get some sort of play going, but decides that, you know, it's Baron time, baby. We're going to take a look at this. We're going to get this done. Clove is actually backing. This is actually pretty crucial that Clove is backing because he's
They
going
know
to
that's
have to...
happening, do they? They don't.
Yeah, they don't know that's happening.
They don't know.
They have no clue. Speedy Bandito actually might be able to check. He has an inkling.
It's
Almost
gone.
steals it. Oh my goodness, he actually
No
almost stole
way.
that. And it's just a steal right
It's a
under.
split push difference.
TSA just no. Yeah.
They had to send 2 to go back and deal with this, and because they needed Vel'Koz in the pit to be able to fight around these pits, but Vel'Koz was the one that was split pushing instead of the Trundle. Like, that was the huge difference there. If Trundle was in the side lane, they could have stopped that Baron, because Vel'Koz against that Baron pit would have been able to do so much disruption, but as a result, they get the Baron for free. It's crazy.
Wow. Very heads up there from the side of SOS to be able
He's
to make
gonna
the work. Now Lyle Walt says hello and goodbye. It's a kill
What
for
is
Sandy
happening?
Snake right there. TSH starting to fall apart here as we get into the later stages of the game. It is only a 1K gold lead, though, just about here, separating the two squads. Now
They're a
almost
little
making
early.
2K.
They're going to lose their mid tower for this and maybe even an inhib.
This is actually really heads up on the side of TSH. They know that this is their only opportunity to get this tower, and they're committing to
arrow.
it. As the Enchanted Crystal Arrow has a
Early.
great pick there on the Speedy Bandito, but they can't get anything else for it. Microscopic Grid goes right into the backline. It's a beautiful flash from control. Lyle Walt just deletes Clover.
Does he have
Pops
ult?
right on the
He does have
coach.
ult.
Has the Hextech ultimatum. That's really important. Coach is just kind of sitting there using the meditate, knows he's kind of dead, and wow, very well done from the side of SOS to be able to get that pick and that play. And it's just looking, the longer this game goes on, it's just more and more dire for TSH. They just don't have the scaling like SOS does.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, the Master Yi just isn't it. It has not been the pick that has been able to make any plays happen this game. And
it was good it was good early.
Yeah, I guess, but it just has not been playable into this Rammus. It's not been playable into this team, frankly, especially with this Camille as well. But when you look at how this game has kind of played out, he's going the move speed build, right? The one where you just, I mean, like, it's Master Yi, you're already really fast, but he's just running even faster now with these 3 items. But it's just something that he needs to be able to press the go button on this particular person and go for it. Oh my
Speaking of pressing the go button, Clova's actually looking to get some help with Jazz here. Gets a beautiful taunt on Lyle Walt, but actually Lyle Walt might be in trouble here. The beautiful Q, the Hextech ultimatum, he actually might be able to get a kill here. Boobly snipes that with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, as now Microscopic Red looks to do it. It's a beautiful Shurima shuffle, but does not crucially get control. Control looking pretty healthy as now.
Boobly, don't
here
let
comes Coach. Coach is looking for it. He's so damn fast. He will not be able to get that kill onto Boobly either. Boobly actually standing his ground, unlike the first half of this game. Wow, another explosive fight from both sides here, with SOS just barely getting on top of that.
They do get some more gold in the pocket of TSH, but what an absolute mess that fight was. Lyle Walt going toe-to-toe with Jazz with Microscopic Rick against the Clover support. But it's one of those where what he probably needed to play that was to ult the Galio ult as he came down to slam. Instead he got knocked up and he just got kind of CC chained after, and as a result lost a lot of damage. But the kind of the difference that we're seeing is Boobly being able to 1v1 the Master Yi. That's not something you ever want to see. Like when the Ashe is 1v1ing the Master Yi, that is kind of a bad sign for where your team is at. Even Boobly flashing away from his Melio, flashing away from the rest of his team, is still able to make the rest of the play happen as it needs to happen still. I don't know if this game necessarily gets better unless SOS are kind of culprits of their own hubris, where they are making a mistake that then leads to bad positioning. So Lyle Walt's huge, he's level 17, Sandy Snake's level 17, his here's an arrow.
Yeah, there it is. A beautiful buffer there from Clover to use the Justice Punch to be able to get out of that bad situation. Sandy Snake, not knowing that they're on a ward, actually going to be able to sweep that out now. Very heads up from Greg to be able to start sweeping out that vision on both of them, actually. Well played.
Well done.
Love that. Well done. Well done.
I'd like Boobly to be a little bit more patient with his arrows. He's usually arrowing just a slight bit too early where the play is actually happening. So, and as a result, the arrows haven't really translated, unfortunately. Even in that mid play, as we saw, it slowed them down a little bit, but it was still a little bit too early. So I think if they can get synced up a little bit more, this could be a really scary Ashe.
Yeah, for sure. 40-second cooldown, though. Something, something. I have arrow like every 40 seconds, something, something. So
it's very
does
accurate.
have the opportunity, excuse me, to be a little bit more liberal with that ultimate, but I definitely do agree. I think it's a tool that needs to be layered. This game is now. Lyle Walt actually getting another scuffle here with Jazz with outside. I believe the answer to that question, AI Box, that you just asked is absolutely not. But the pillar actually not going to be able to get much done. Clove is actually now on the run. Sandy Snake is now here. Another taunt from Clove. Lyle Walt is in so much trouble, but it doesn't even matter as the Shurima Shuffle comes out. But Coach is so fast.
So fast.
Wait, the Shurima turret actually buying some time as well, so Coach had to expend the Ghost and the Ultimate to be able to try to look for a play, and it didn't even happen.
The big issue there is like, okay, Master Yi comes in and then what? He potentially maybe gets the reset on Lyle, and then he just gets taunted under the Azir Tower and dies. So he has no window to actually run in there.
Oh, look at the arrow! Once again, we were talking about that, but I don't think it's going to matter at all. Yeah, there's no play. Would you look at that, AI Box?
But he stops the play, and he stops the base, and I guess they get the top turret, but still.
Yeah, I really thought that they were going to just hard commit to that.
Yeah.
They probably could have, but for how much Coach has kind of like died down in the later stages of this game. We saw a lot of really big plays earlier on, and it looked like the snowball was actually just going to start rolling in their favor. It is a Yi, right? Like the Yi has kind of whimpered down, and we've seen all of these different utility tools and all this damage and scaling coming out from SOS that, like we were talking about earlier in the draft phase, it's just their team comp is just so much better.
Yeah, and they're like not insignificantly behind in gold right now. I mean, it's not a huge gold lead, don't get me wrong, especially at this stage in the game. But it's more of a question: how does this team comp play? How do they get access to the plays that they need to actually play without Master Yi just kind of immediately dying, right? But the nice thing is they do have that Vel'Koz. They're able to stall it out. They're able to basically just rely on this one champion to just stall the game as long as they can and stop the next Baron take as much as they can. But it's going to be a 4-dragon soul as they start this dragon. Oh, I think they might start the Baron. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I think they actually should trade Soul. They should trade Soul right now. I actually think that they just need to trade it. I don't think that you want to fight for this at all, Microscopic Rip, because here's what's going to happen.
Forced them off. They forced them off for a second.
They actually forced them off. Wow, what a really heads-up play there, actually. I did not think that was going to be the way it's going to go. Hextech Soul is so damn important for SOS, and they're going to be able to pick it up, and they have their eyes set right on the Baron now. Microscopic Rip going super fast, but it's not going to matter. It is a Master Yi on the other end there, as now a fight just breaks out immediately. Lyle Walt just absolutely picks off Jazz at the very start of that. This Baron buff might not even matter. Chains of Corruption is available for Speedy. They do have the playmaking tools. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. I just took a look at Speedy's build. I just took a glance. This dude actually has no damage.
Yeah.
At all.
Okay,
never mind. I'm so sorry.
He's going to die. He has the heal.
I'm so sorry.
He heal.
Oh my goodness, never mind. I will shut the hell up.
Things.
Yeah, he definitely had so many tools available. He had the ult, he had the heal, he had the cozy campfire that didn't even do much. Never mind, I'll shut up. Speedy just did so much damage there with that Q on the
I mean, ultimately it doesn't matter. They got the inhib and they're on the reset anyways, so it's going to delay their bot push a tiny bit. But they got the soul, they got the 4 Hextech soul, and they were able to get 2 barons, or sorry, 2 inhibs during this Baron. So it's like really not the end of the world that he dies there. Maybe just saving his sums, but Lyle was going to cash this out. He's going to see that.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not really it's not the end of the world, right? That old Greg dies, but if there is going to be a champion that, Speedy Bandito actually does damage to, it will be Greg.
It's going to be the Melio.
It will be Greg. I mean, everyone else, like, I got to be honest, Collector, like, this is one of the classic rules of League of Legends and itemization. If you're an AD champion, if you're building Collector, it's better with crit.
Absolutely.
It's definitely not a standalone.
Yeah.
It is not a standalone lethality item. Speedy Bandito can actually get away with that because he is able to just pick off Greg in that scenario. But other than that, he does not have the Edge of Night available just yet. I think I would have liked that adaptation a little bit more. I think it's more important that he has the Edge of Night for
Rammus.
for the Rammus, for the Shurima Shuffle, the taunt. I mean, there's just so much, and maybe even round that out with a GA, honestly. But it's not the worst. It's not the worst item he could have built, but definitely one that kind of stunts his growth a little bit. I mean, on the Varus.
One thing that this Varus is going to be able to do is hopefully be able to out-chunk, especially in conjunction with this Vel'Koz, so it makes sieging extremely hard. And especially since they were the ones that were able to take the Baron, there's really not a lot of a window for SOS to be able to make use of kind of the time where the Trundle was off the map. And even if they were to get a pick, as long as the Vel'Koz is alive and Speedy is there to supplement some of that poke, there's not really a ton of opportunity, as here's a good play.
There it is, Microscopic Rick gonna be able to start this one off. The taunt on the Clove. Here it is. Sandy Snake is right there, and he is unstoppable. The man has scaled. Shurima's Emperor has arrived. Does get a ton of damage on him against that pick. As now Lyle Walt is
just taking a stroll.
Yeah, he's just gonna walk on in, and he's
amazing.
Gonna take the Hex Portal out. Okay, Lyle Walt getting a little dicey there. Does actually deter.
Oh my God, Speedy, where'd your health bar go?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Shurima, your Emperor, has returned. He is here from a very rough start of the game to a very dominant finish here for Sandy Snake. Now getting that scaled, he has arrived. There it is. Lyle Wall potentially looking for a play here. Microscopic Rick, he is revving up. He does have the ult available to him.
Amount of damage.
There it is. Speedy Bandito gets a beautiful chunk on the Boobly, but it's not going to matter. The Cozy Campfire, the Bloodthirster, is available to him as well. Misses another Q. This could potentially be the final fight of this game here. Lyle Walt does get chunked just a little bit. Control. We've talked about him so much in the series, but he hasn't been playmaking as much. But he still has so much damage.
So disrespectful though. Just walks up, gets his Q2 onto the turret for no reason. Doesn't even E out, just walks away. The most disrespectful thing I've ever seen. But man, the triple inhib, they still can't end. It's Vel'Koz. It's the Vel'Koz effect. It's so hard. They don't even have great engage. They probably could have just walked up and hit the turret a little bit, but like the Vel'Koz is just preventing them from doing much as they can. One thing I'd like to see, and I know I mentioned this already, is like Boobly needs to be just a little bit more patient with these arrows. Just let the Rammus go in first. He's so fast, he will almost beat your arrow to its destination. Just let him go in first, and then they will for sure lock one person down and kill them, especially someone like Speedy.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, definitely gotta be a little bit more patient with the arrows, but I absolutely love that. I love the vision. I see the vision. I love it. I love that proactivity. Just just a little bit more patient.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
But Boobly definitely having a lot better of a game than last game.
Oh,
a lot more proficiency on the Ashe here in particular. I think he's played a very sound game of League of Legends, especially in the face of that team comp. Like, if I'm playing Ashe, I'm a little terrified of a Master Yi, right? I'm a little terrified of those champions, and I think he's kept his composure for the most part in team fights other than the arrows. I think he's played a really sound game of League of Legends, and
we've been sure that he's still auto-attacking in the midst of everything.
Absolutely, sure. Yes, and AD carry, you have to auto-attack, right?
Yeah,
Ashe being one of those, for sure. Ashe being one of those safer champions, you definitely have the range. You can play that. You have that sticky nature. You have a whole lot with Ashe, and I just think Boobly's doing a much better job than something like the Zeri. A lot more comfortable to pilot, especially with a team composition like this. The damage is good.
Good trap. Looks like Lyle might be looking for something here.
Yeah, Lyle's looking for it. The ward does spot him out, though. Oh my goodness, another big chunk there onto Sandy Snake. Actually gets a ton of his health bar gone. Cozy Campfire trying to chase him down. We'll be able to get the fruit there.
But quick item check though. The Edge of Night is now up over on the Varus. Meanwhile, Sandy Snake is hitting 6 items. Boobly is getting pretty darn close to 6 items. Lyle's been 6 items for a while now, so we're kind of cresting the point where gold doesn't matter. Not that there's much of a gold lead to begin with, but these triple inhibs now with 2 back, it's looking like it could be absolutely anyone's game here.
Yeah, it's looking really good here from the side of SOS. Once again, we were talking about that scaling. Is now Sandy Snake. Gets taunted, but has a beautiful Streamer Shuffle out. Does have the ultimate available to him. He is dominating the Crypto Bloom. Fires right away. Microscopic Rick is right in the back line as a beautiful Streamer Shuffle. It is a shutdown already for Lyle Wall. An absolute one-shot headshot kill. It's a double kill now for Sandy Snake. The Hextech Ultimatum comes out. A double kill for Lyle Wall. And ladies and gentlemen, that is all she wrote. SOS will be taking us to a game number 3.
What an incredible team fight from SOS. They knew exactly what their game plan was. Lyle went over the wall as soon as the trap got set, and Sandy Snake doing all of the damage. And I just want to point out what happened to the Yi.
Yeah, dude, that
ran in and ran immediately into a gray screen.
Oh my goodness, Lyle Wall.
Wow,
mastery of a pilot on that Camille. Very well played by him. Very well played by all the members of SOS. I think they had a much more comfortable composition, a much easier composition to play. The itemization came out at just the right times. I think Microscopic Rick did a great job at disrupting virtually all the members of TSH there with the taunt and just having that counter pick right off bat. I just think TSH's composition was very greedy.
So coherent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think you meant SOS.
Oh yeah, well SOS was coherent, right?
Yeah.
I just think that TSH is they cooked a little too much. I think they burnt their dish, and I can only hope that they're going to have a more coherent game in game 3. So when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be game number 3 of SOS versus TSH. Don't go anywhere. And we are back for game number 3, the final game of this best of 3 bout between SOS and TSH. Once again, if you are just joining us, my name is ToastyTG alongside AI Box, and man, what an absolute banger of a game that was, AI. I mean, there was just so much action always, 24/7. It was just back and forth and back and forth, and while TSH had a very prominent early game, they kind of just took a whimper, right? We saw the power of that cohesion, that composition that SOS actually drafted. We saw what happens when Lyle Walt gets his hands on Camille.
And that's something we kind of called out during the draft in the previous game. When we were looking at it, we were kind of concerned with how they would all be playing together. It definitely looked like a case where Yi kind of wanted to run in and do his own thing, and we kind of saw where that got him. And as soon as he ran in, he immediately got Camille ulted, he immediately got Rammus taunted, and immediately died. And so I have to imagine the lesson from that game is no more ego.
Yeah, for
Let's
sure.
let's do what we're good at. Let's do what got us that huge stomp in game one and make sure that we can translate this into a series win when we look like the better team in these early games and just not turn these bad compositions into bad games.
Absolutely. I would always much rather 100% in the 4 years that I've played competitive League of Legends and has since quote unquote retired. I would much rather play the boring like front to back or like coherent like CC layering comp that has a play style, it has a go button, like it has everything you need versus the okay, I'm going to pick Yi, okay, I'm going to pick Vel'Koz,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'm going to, yeah, I think Varus was fine, but I think Varus, just didn't really do much. There wasn't really a whole I don't think it was Speedy's fault.
No,
There
I
just
think
wasn't.
they had an idea of what they wanted to do with the poke comp with the Varus and the Vel'Koz, and kind of the ability to make sure that they can contest every objective no matter what. It's just that the rest of the team didn't necessarily feel like that's what the
Right.
game plan was, if that sort of makes sense. Especially when you have something like the AP Galio in the bot lane.
Right. It's on the subject of poke comps. I would have loved to see like a Maokai from Coach. I think
Yeah.
a Maokai would have been it, right?
Hmm.
It probably gets a little dicey with the Vel'Koz, but I think Maokai would have been a really good pick. I don't know if he actually plays it,
Kind of keep him
but
off it. I think Clover is someone that's probably pretty comfortable in a lot of champs. We've really mostly seen him, excuse me, on something like the Galio. That's definitely his most played champion. But I think he was cooking a little bit. I think everyone on the side of TSH is cooking a little bit. But going into this next game, I fully expect that to kind of be reset. I definitely anticipate that they're going to have an idea of what kind of coherent team comp they're going to pick this time around, and I don't think that last loss is going to affect them too much. But meanwhile, SOS got to be riding a little bit high on that one.
absolutely. And TSH, they strike me as the kind of guys who are just chill.
Yeah,
I feel
absolutely.
like their comps are very chill. I would definitely say that this was kind of like a funny haha, like I got to play Master Yi, like really funny.
Yeah, yeah,
And Coach is a good Master Yi. Do not get me wrong. I don't want any of this like this criticism to be taken like super super heavily.
yeah.
I just think that sort of composition works if you have just probably a little bit more cohesion with
Hmm.
it. I think there was a style, but it was just like there were two different styles, right? And we saw what happens when you have one coherent style in SOS's drafting.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it. I think Boobly, shout out to him, definitely played a much better game on the Ashe than the Zeri. Something, with a little bit more agency in these team fights, right? Something with the hawk shot, being able to give that information to his jungler and to his top side.
absolutely.
Um, I think the laning phase needs some work. I think there was a little bit of some early scuffles that SOS definitely were not ready for and did not play as well as they could have, but they did have that glue in Lyle Walt to be able to kind of carry them
Absolutely.
to the finish line, for a majority of that game, just to buy some time for Sandy Snake, in particular, to scale. So, man, I kind of wish it was Fearless Draft in TCL AI Box because I want to see some different picks. Damn it, I want to see some Giga Chad stuff
I want to
here
see
from both sides.
the game five blind pick that we used to get out of LCK, where they gave us the Zed versus the Faker Zed and
Yes,
the blind pick mirror matchups. Like
yes,
we'll never have that again, and I think that's kind of sad in a way. And
man,
I'm
that would
wondering if
be a real.
TCL is the battlegrounds for that to happen again.
Oh my goodness, man. Well, by the way, we are like I don't know, 6 seasons off of TCL All Stars. I believe we still have to do All Stars season 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yes,
and 6 and 7.
we'll do it all in one
So
night.
yeah, exactly. Why don't we just do like 8 games of League of Legends in one night to make up for that? For All Stars.
That's
Yeah,
right.
just have everybody go
Yeah,
back in time and kind of vote on what players should be in that All Star lineup. But yeah, man. I mean, this is one of those games where it's just going to come down to execution. I mean, we've definitely seen
100%.
the individual raw talent from both sides. I think, we've seen Control dominate. We've seen Lyle Walt dominate. It's kind of been that kind of show. It's kind of been that back and forth
Yeah.
so far.
And
Um,
we definitely saw in that last game how the game plan went through Lyle Walt. A lot of the proactivity. I mean, don't get me wrong. Tiny Rick did a ton. Microscopic Rick did a ton there, where he was kind of a huge catalyst for plays being made. But the ones that led to crucial objectives and the ones that led to main takes that were able to happen, they went through Lyle Walt. So look for that exact same draft style, exact same draft plan to happen this game.
Couldn't agree more with you as we're getting right into the pro draft. And once again, if you are just
Oh,
joining
there's the
us,
Camille.
there it is. The Camille gets banned away. Not everybody in TCL has all champions available to them. So just to make things a little bit more comfortable for our competitors tonight, we will be using the pick ban tool before getting into the actual draft. SOS going to be picking up Ash
Oh,
immediately.
they
Absolutely
gave the
love
blue
this.
side.
Yeah, they did actually.
Yeah, let them pick up Ash on the blue
Okay,
side there.
hold on. I think they're stream sniping me. We got a Maokai pick right off the bat here from
That's great.
TSH. Love that adaptation, though. I love the Ash first pick. Once again, I think Boobly did a fantastic job. Had a lot of agency on that champion. I think he played it very well. A very good pickup. As we see the Jin
And
from Speedy Bandito. My God, I love seeing this champion in play. I know a lot of people don't like it when he's meta, but as a Jin enjoyer, I welcome this.
it's a
Ash.
great matchup it's a great pairing, I mean, with the Maokai as well.
It is. It is. And Ash Jin actually, in terms of like the wave clearing war, like what is Jin's strength and why you pick Jin into something like Sivir, Ash, Kate is that he's able to stall the wave. For waves and waves and waves and waves, he is able to just stall it, right? And he's kind of able to 1v2, he can initiate the fights with his ultimate, which is obviously the most powerful tool in his kit. He's got the root, he's got the traps for not only vision but also for stalling. He's got the wave clear with Q, and his items are very good right now. As we
Oh
see
man.
Milio and Volibear being picked up here for the side of SOS. So we're going to round out TSH's first half of the draft with the Mordekaiser, which is something
Mordekaiser.
that we talked about in Game 1's draft.
And they're kind of scared of Lao Wall getting pretty much everything banned away from him in phase 2 of this draft, and they want to make sure they get him onto something comfortable. He's been good on this Volibear, but Volibear is not exactly the 1v9 solo carry threat that we've been able to see from him on something like the Camille and the Kale. So with those two out, I'm kind of curious if is he going to be able to have that same pressure, that same pick, that same pressure that he has in the side lane that we've been able to see him on in champions like Camille and Kale. And with microscopic Rick no longer on the Zach, and probably not Yi, not going to get picked, so probably no Rammus. Like, how does that top jungle duo really look?
Yeah, and speaking of jungle here, Zach and Rammus being
Oh, are
banned
they going
here
to
for the
Master
side of
Yi?
SOS, and
Yeah,
there's
there
the
it
Master Yi
is.
ban. Okay, I love this adaptation here for the side of
That's
TSH, but
great.
it's an obvious read as now Nocturne actually is going to be the pick here for Coach. Another, I'm going to stick on you and auto attack you to death champion. So, pretty good pickup. Being able to turn off the lights and have that global ultimate to be able to kick things off. I love this draft so far from both sides as a Mumu, another microscopic Rick classic, going to be picked up here for that AoE team fighting. And we just await Sandy Snake's pick. And I know this was something that you were talking about AI Box a little bit with like Lyle Walt being banned
That's
out.
easier, yeah.
And there's the Azir. All right, so there's our scaling. There's our once again playmaking team fight champion. If
They're concerned
Lyle
about their
Walt gets
damage
banned out,
early.
I'm
Sorry, go
sorry.
ahead. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, if Lyle Walt gets banned out, like that opens up Sandy Snake's champ pool,
Yeah, absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
So it's like who do you ban out? Do you ban out Sandy or do you ban out Lyle Walt? Like both of them are just powerhouse players, right? They're both or Sandy is borderline masters and Lyle Walt is also borderline masters. As we're actually going to see a
good battle chain.
Silas from Control.
Absolutely. I
I
think this is
like
the time to
this.
pick it. They save him that counter pick, and I think this is why they wanted the red side. They really want to make sure they get this prio early in the mid lane. And as I was saying earlier, with the damage, I just don't know if they have the damage earlier from SOS, but kind of to go with your point on the drafting, I think Lyle's pool on what he is able to effectively carry on is a little bit more narrow than what Sandy Snake is comfortable on as a player, right? So do you then where do you want to direct those bans? Well, it then makes more sense to kind of send those toward Lyle. It forces him to draft earlier. It forces him to no longer have counterpick in this bottom or in this top lane. And then meanwhile they're okay with Sandy Snake pretty much picking with whatever.
Absolutely, and that's why I love this team. I love this team on paper because you have Lyle and you have Sandy, right? You have two really big powerhouse players in the solo lanes being able to being able to make those plays and be able to make those things happen in a carry capacity, because these champions that they're piloting a majority of the time aren't really easy.
Yeah.
Sandy's Azir compared to my Azir is like insane. So it's kind of like Sandy can do it because he's good at it, and
Yeah.
Sandy once again has a bunch of champions that he can play, like you said, a little bit more narrow for Lyle Waltez. We're actually gonna get into the real picks and bans here. Um, I gotta be honest with you, AI Box. I don't actually know who wins this out
Yeah.
because both comps are so damn good. I
I
would be
think we're seeing
comfortable on either
something.
draft.
Yeah, I think I'm a little concerned that SOS is going to fall a little bit behind early. They just don't quite have that ability to kind of keep up with some of these skirmishes that TSH is prior to like really the first three objectives going down. And so if they get in too much of a hole, they're not going to get to the point where Sandy Snake is going to be able that kind of like solo damage threat that he'll probably need to be as this game goes on. That being said, what I really liked from TSH is I think their draft, when it really comes together, it comes together in something like this. They have something that's really effective in having a go button with the Nocturne and the Silas and the Maokai, and Mordekaiser can have a little bit more free reign where he can play the team fight kind of however how he wants to. And meanwhile, the entire time, Jin is just artillery over top. And I think this is something that looks a lot better than what we saw out of them game two.
Absolutely. I love the Jin adaptation here for Speedy Bandito. I mean, I know Jin Enjoyer loves to see good Jins. Okay, I get it. But it makes so much sense in the context of this comp, right? Like we talked about being able to stall the wave, being able to use the curtain call to be able to initiate these fights, to make people scared, because a lot of people think that Jin's ult is for the damage, right? A lot of
Yeah,
people think Jin's ult is for picking people off. I
great
disagree.
utility.
I think Jin's ult is to start fights and to make people scared. Like this, his biggest strength is when you open up, you hold, right? And you
Mhm.
wait to see who's gonna dodge the bullet and who's not gonna dodge the bullet, and you pelt the person who's not dodging the bullet,
Yeah,
right? So there's a whole like mental factor, like this whole mental warfare game that happens when you open up with curtain call, and in a skirmishy team fight like this that TSH has drafted for themselves, it's so valuable. It's so
I
good.
and I think that that kind of plays into how both of these comps are going to be able to work. SOS has a great strong initial initiation with the Amumu, with the Volibear, with the Ash Arrow. But in a sustained fight, they're really reliant on this Azir kind of carrying them. And meanwhile, TSH has great counter engage with the Silas. He can steal the Amumu ult, but he can steal the arrow. Mordekaiser can immediately eliminate somebody. So even if they're able to get that initial engage, that doesn't necessarily mean that the rest of the fight will go well for them. So I know everything I'm saying kind of makes it sound like I'm leaning in toward kind of that TSH comp, and at the moment I kind of am. But like I said, it's going to be a matter of how this early game goes. Are SOS going to be able to kind of hold steady and kind of stay in this game, even as they might have a few plays that might go wrong early on?
Right. And I'm like we said, right? Like this is virtually the same draft as game 2 for SOS,
Yeah,
minus, the obvious Rammus pivot, and not being able to have Camille, but it's basically the same thing.
yeah.
To be honest with you, and they did get clapped in the
In
early
that
stages
early
of
game,
game 2.
yeah,
Yeah, like they got absolutely rolled, but they were able to stall, right? But again, they were able to stall on the back of Lyle Walt being so powerful and being able to fight back and get those picks, and being able to have a little bit of an easier time with the Master Yi, considering it's Master Yi.
yeah,
Now you have to worry about the lights being turned off in front of you.
yeah,
And if I'm Boobly, I'm a little terrified at that. And his job is basically just going to be to stall the fight as long as possible and to just try
yep,
to survive as long as possible. But he inevitably, if this goes correct on the side of TSH, he will eventually fall.
yep.
So he's just gotta do as much as he can utility wise to make sure that he's able to kind of be there to make Sandy Snake and Lyle Walt kind of go ham.
I think Melio is going to be able to do a lot to kind of help him on that side of things, right? As soon as Silas goes in, as soon as Nocturne goes in, as soon as Maokai presses R, Melio is going to try and just press R and just hopefully run his AD carry out of there. Same thing for the Azir wall. They do have great disengage tools, so
They do.
on the one hand, SOS might just be looking to be able to look for a strong setup and not get flanked, and that's something we haven't seen as much in the series. an effective flank from TSH can really change the complexity of how these team fights play out, right? With Nocturne, he can obviously be anywhere, but an effective flank from Mordekaiser who removes one of these tools right from the start, get rid of that Melio, get rid of that Azir right at the start of the fight, and all of a sudden the fight looks very different. So if TSH are able to establish effective vision and get strong flanks where they can disrupt this backline, it's definitely something where like this SOS backline starts to fall apart a little bit. But on the one hand, they've had really great looks with vision. So if SOS kind of stay consistent with the vision game, you never know what can happen.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I think is the most important thing coming out of SOS's team composition is that, you know, now they're kind of like fighting fire with fire here because TSH does have good initiation. They have good skirmish. They have really good go buttons. They also have really good you're not playing the game buttons with the Mordekaiser ult, right? And
Yep.
crucially, not being able to QSS it. That's really important. You can no longer QSS Mordekaiser ult. So when he takes somebody out of the fight, he's taking them out. Right? Like they are
Yeah.
like it is you versus me. It is domain expansion, and I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. So really interested to see how Jazz is going to be able to have some agency with this champion. It is
Yeah.
one of his best. It is one of his most prominent picks here in the league, and I'm very interested to see how he's going to be able to work around the skirmishing power of the rest of his team composition. But ladies and gentlemen, it is game number 3 of SOS versus TSH. Get your pogs out. It is Silver Scrapes. It is time to see who's going to be able to get this very crucial win here in week number 3.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot on Lyle's shoulders once again. The man of the hour from the previous game. Is he going to be able to have the same performance in Volibear? We've seen it be a little bit more of a difficult champion to kind of have those solo carry performances, but meanwhile, Sandy Snake is going to be quietly scaling, waiting for his moment to be able to make a big Shrima shuffle, to make a huge team fight where he is the DPS threat. But you can never count out Control.
Absolutely. Want to do a little bit of a rune check here. We got standard stuff across the board here for SOS. Pretty much very standard stuff. But on the other side, I did want to point out that Speedy Bandito does have the Dark Harvest. Dark Harvest did just get a little bit of a nerf this
Yeah, I don't think
patch.
that's the item. Or
Well,
that's the rune, I mean.
well, okay, so yes and no. On one hand, right, you could say, okay, well, Fleet Footwork's just good because Yellow Tree is really good right now. I personally think Fleet Footwork is the rune currently on
Yeah.
Jhin, but the Dark Harvest once again provides that infinite scaling. And I gotta be honest with you, man. There's really only one tank on that team,
Yeah.
and that is Microscopic Rick. So if Speedy Bandito is able to get 3 items, and those 3 items again have to be Collector, i.e., and Rapid Fire Cannon, like this dude is gonna hurt. He's gonna chunk. He might even one-shot Greg.
Yeah,
He might
I wouldn't be
one-shot
surprised
Greg.
if he went lethality and went Huber's second item again.
No way. No. Listen. I'm gonna call my shot right now, and I know that there's a lot of Speedy Bandito enjoyers in chat, and I mean no disrespect when I say this. If he does that, he is trolling.
Yeah,
Like it is done. He is trolling. It is very, very bad. Collector plus crit items is so valuable. It is so
really
good right now in today's
really the way
meta.
to go.
As Clover and Speedy Bandito actually, speaking of them, do get the level 2. Great damage on the Boobly early on. Is speaking of early damage, Lyle Wall going to be able to get some thunder happening in the top side here with Jazz. So a lot of early scuffles here. A little bit of a lead for Lyle Wall, a little bit of a lead for Speedy Bandito and Clover on opposite sides of the map. So well played by both sides. Control also with the Electrocute. I know this is something that a lot of people haven't really touched on, but Electrocute, to my knowledge, has become standard for Sylas. I know there's a lot of like first strike enjoyers, and when I am able to run first strike on Sylas, I do enjoy it, but Electrocute is kind of one of those runes that I'll take mid. I'll give credit for him. He's always been one that has run that rune style as now. We have a little bit of a scuffle here with Lyle Walt and Jazz. There's so much damage as now Coach is actually here. Lyle Walt has to turn on at least one of them. The fear coming out here from Coach. A nice flash forward from Microscopic Rick. Will he be able to get some sort of damage? Lyle Walt's in a little bit of trouble, but the bandit toss. A slam down for Lyle Walt. It will be first blood for SOS.
Jazz played that a little bit too passively. He was just a little bit scared about getting executed by this Volibear. And as a result, Tiny Rick comes in with the flash and is able to save his top laner and ensure first blood for his top laner, as we're seeing yet even more action.
Yeah, we're seeing Lyle Walt. Excuse me, that's not Lyle Walt. That is Sandy Snake in Control having a little bit of a tussle in the mid lane as well. Dude, I gotta give the credit where credit is due. Microscopic Rick, in the past couple of seasons that we have seen him,
He's a beast.
has turned it on. From the very first season of TCL, I remember he was on my team. Actually, was he on my team? I don't. Yeah, okay. He wasn't on my team then, but I do remember playing against him, and I remember being like, okay, all right. Well, sorry, I just had a little bit of trip down memory lane there. Jazz and Lyle Walt exchanging flashes there. Actually, Jazz being the one to flash there. Sorry, I had all the memories flash back to me. And I'm such a proud dad of Microscopic Rick right now. The dude has turned into an absolute beast. And this is somebody who went from top lane to jungle. The dude just like filled jungle and was like, yeah, man, like I'll play jungle. And he turned out to be just insane.
It's been a great series for him, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I love these aggressive plays and like this confidence to flash in and have that play. It's such a different Tiny Rick that we have seen from the earlier seasons of the league.
I mean, he's a great vibes guy. Everyone's always known that. But one thing that's a really underrated quality is how much, not just has he improved, but he has been exactly what his team needs him to be, right? Look at the picks that he's been doing. He's been picking things like Zach. Last game, he picked Rammus, you know? It's definitely not outside the realm of, you know, possibility that he could have just been like, this is what I'm comfortable on, this is what I'm playing. But that's not the kind of player that he is. He's been very effective at what he has been his role for this team. And
he loves it.
Seeing that, yeah.
He loves it, and that's also really important, right? Because a lot of junglers in the league look at tank jungle and they go, "Oh, well, if you play tank jungle, you have
they might catch a Mumu here. They have great vision on him.
Actually, Microscopic Rick might be getting caught here. Coach going to be able to throw down a little bit of a red carpet here. Blue carpet, excuse me, is now. Control actually going to be getting a ton of damage. The Shurima Shuffle coming out to be able to save Microscopic Rick. They can't even walk past the wall there. Control was not able to do any more in that fight. Red team, TSH is going to be able to get that objective.
Probably going to get grubs here.
Once again, it was another save.
This is kind of what I was talking about with the early damage situation. I'm a little worried about if they're going to be able to effectively stay in gold game, and of course now they're ahead, but stay in the gold game with all of these neutral gems it takes and all of these prio advantages they're going to have in their lanes. But nonetheless, that was just great vision from TSH, and they were able to kind of track him the whole time. But no summoners burned, just the Shurima Shuffle, like you said.
It was really well played. I absolutely loved Sandy Snake actually kind of being the hero there in that scuffle rather than you know, Microscopic Rick being the one that usually makes those plays, those hero plays, and he kind of just had like a, yeah, I got you, bro. Don't even sweat it. Very well played from Sandy Snake to be able to make that miracle of a play happen. Great chunks on the mid lane as well. And once again, it's pretty standard stuff. 10 CS lead. Crucially, actually, top lane has a 10 CS lead as well.
Interesting,
on Jazz. Actually, a little bit of a turnaround, especially with that first blood going the way of Lyle Walt. And I believe Lyle Walt is actually building a.
Yeah, we're gonna see that new era Volibear build that we've been seeing lately with the Roa and the tank items after that. But it's going to give him a lot of healing. It's going to give him a lot of dueling capacity, which is outside of what you would expect. But that's definitely a little bit standard. But unfortunately, those items right now just don't quite give him a lot of pressure in lane.
Sure. I do love that adaptation, though. Out with the old and in with the new. It is AP Volibear time, baby. I love a good Rift Maker game. Very underrated item, actually, in my personal opinion. It's an item we don't really see much, but it's one that I always love to see when it is pretty good. So,
yeah,
gonna be able to get the push.
In response to that, definitely Jazz knows what's coming. I think everyone kind of knows what's coming on the side of TSH, but good looks from Sandy Snake.
Ooh, Control actually gets a really good chain right there. Sandy Snake gonna be able to fire back just a little bit. Does have the Shurima Shuffle actually available to himself.
Nice.
And doesn't actually get anything else off of it. So
junglers are 6. This could definitely explode at any moment.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I didn't even notice Coach actually having the darkness available to him now to be able to make some of those plays. Bot lane's got to be pretty careful in particular because I can smell something coming in this bot lane fight. I have a feeling something's going to happen very, very soon as he passes down bot side.
I think Boobly, it's good adaptation. Taking the barrier, is able to just play safe and know that if they get dove, it's going to be something where they're going to take someone down with them with this barrier, with the Melio and everything.
There it is, Control is using the ultimate available to him, does actually get that catch up, and it's a beautiful escape from Sandy Snake. Coach is running for it, but will he actually be able to die for this? The answer is no. It's a beautiful play from Control, getting and using that power against Sandy Snake. A beautiful root comes out as well for Speedy Bandito. I don't think it's going to be anything more. Microscopic Rick trying to get some damage onto Control, trying to hold that wave. Will miss the bandage shots and nothing else will come out of it. So as now we see a little bit of a tussle on the top side here. Jazz and Lyle Walt, there's just so much damage actually from Lyle in particular. Wow, the AP Volley Bear actually doing so much here. The shield about to go away here from Jazz. Jazz actually does the domain expansion. He actually puts him into the death realm, but I don't think it's going to be anything else out of it. Lyle Walt doing so much damage and just weathering the storm, no pun intended. Just getting all
that healing.
Yeah, there's so much as now an enchanted crystal arrow on the bot side. Microscopic gets a beautiful ultimate. Clove is not long for this world as he will go down to Boobly. A great play there from the side of the bot side in jungle. Well done from the side of SOS. Now we're starting to see that playmaking, and now we're starting to see that early game adaptations here coming out from the side of SOS.
Totally, and definitely a great look from Tiny Rick. He's been very active. We saw that Nocturnal coming out of the mid lane and immediately into action in the top lane. This is exactly what we were kind of hoping for, a little bit more. Not quite the action that we saw from the last game, but still, good first use of the Nocturnal ultimate. Sandy Snake almost escapes, but this duel in the top lane, we're seeing that AP coming in with that healing, even against something like the Bramble Vest, but the bot lane look, excellent job, effective use of the ultimates. Unfortunately, it means they won't have anything for this dragon fight that is incoming very, very soon. So perhaps a little bit early on using all those ultimates, but still, you never know what can happen.
Yeah, we're also seeing an adaptation and itemization here for bot side. We're no longer going with the Kraken Slayer. We are going with the Blade of the Rune King, which was something that while the break was happening, AI Box, I was talking about, like, is IE actually good on Ashe? Because I wasn't actually sure if the passive increased damage from the Frost based on critical strike chance damage, and it actually does. So I haven't really seen the on-hit build very much with the Blade of the Rune King and the Rapid Fire Cannon. As
I'm still not sure that Bork first is the item anymore. I think you need the... Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. I don't think it is either. That was going to be the point that I was getting at. Was kind of that whole question mark, right, if you will. I think the on-hit build for Ashe has currently changed to Kraken to Trinity Force and to Terminus. I think that is considered the on-hit build nowadays. But Bork is certainly an option. I don't think it is the option, but it certainly is one. As Speedy Bandito going to be going towards that Infinity Edge as well, speaking of itemization. Not going to be the Collector first
fight. One of the things what we kind of mentioned was the fact that, like, when they use their ultimates on that fight in the bottom lane, it then becomes very difficult to contest this dragon because they're still waiting for the cooldowns on those ultimates. But they give up that drag, they still are able to get these grubs in response. So not ultimately the worst thing in the entire world. 6 grubs, excellent looks there, but definitely something where you have no option anymore. That's the play you have to make.
Absolutely, I love these heads up plays here from Macro. You know, we always talk about the mechanical. We always talk about the micro. Speaking of mechanical, oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness!
What the hell just happened there? Sandy Snake now in a world of trouble after that wild interaction. Control will use the Kingslayer to slay the king of Sandy Snake in the mid lane. Microscopic Rick just a little bit too late. As now while Walt is getting some action here in the top side, going for that damage. It's actually going to be a Rod of Ages Volley Bear, excuse me. That's even cooler. As now the Death Round potentially coming out here. Jazz trying to do any damage that he can. He does have the passive available to him to get so much healing, but Jazz now getting that big shield. Is now the ultimate comes out here from Lyle Walt. The storm, the lightning is in his favor. The flash forward.
Does he dive?
Lyle Walt asserting dominance in this top lane.
Oh my gosh, there's the difference there. That Roa comes through. It's just starting to stack, and he is already an absolute menace against the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser, it cannot be pressing R on him in these situations anymore. He has certainly gotten to the level where he is a very, very strong bear. But yeah, I think something that happened in that mid lane was, I'm pretty sure when Sandy Snake went to actually shuffle, went to actually E himself out, the fear from the Nocturne finally came through. So as soon as he went to shuffle, he immediately got feared. So there was just no escape available to him anymore. It just makes it so he has to hold it and he has to hold it. But if you hold it too long, it becomes a very difficult.
Hold on a second. Boobly getting a little caught out here. I don't actually like this a whole lot. Is now he does get a really good flash out and the Milio ult to be able to kind of get a get out of jail free card. Excuse me. So a little bit of aggression here from Boobly. I do like it. I like that confidence and that aggressive play, but not when you don't have vision in that brush.
Yeah.
We really have to respect the Maokai here. The Maokai can do so much. There's so much zone control. There's so much initiation. Excuse me. There's so much sustain as well. So really good play though on the bot side, being able to get him out right when he needed it.
I think they actually could probably take that fight. I think that's one in the extended fight. They don't have necessarily a great tool of being able to lock down Ashe immediately after they've used everything. So after that, she's just kind of free firing into the Jhin. And yeah, he has cleanse. Yeah, he can run away, but it becomes something where she's able to just chase him down. And ooh, as we see another engage in the mid lane. Nice poke from Control.
Yeah, Control doing so much in that poke right there. Chunking so much of Sandy Snake's health. I mean, that is a champion. You want to talk about a champion that like you never think is gonna be like a really big like massive force in lane? It's that champion. When he hits that E and you weren't expecting it, you're like, oh no. It's just so much damage, especially with Kingslayer max, Silas W max. There's just so much damage, there's so much sustain, so much brawling and healing. As have a little bit of a calm before the storm here. Bork going to be online soon for Boobly. We have Sandy Snake, who is unfortunately 2-0 in this laning phase. You know, almost even on CS, just a little bit behind. Does have the Nash's Tooth available to him as well. Control has yet to get that item, as now Boobly getting a little bit aggressive once again, trying to get some sort of damage. A nice Ultra Fire Mega Kick, I think that ability is called. It's something silly like that. As
getting the Herald in response to this bot lane, though.
Yeah, there it is.
Might get the base off too. Oh no, they're greeting.
Oh no, Boobly and Greg, they're in so much trouble. Coach has this. Here comes the curtain call. Like we're talking about, one shot, two shot. Coach is starting to get a little active here as no damage. Actually, excuse me, a lot of damage comes out here from the side of TSA.
He got canceled too.
Yeah, that is true. Now Lyle Walt seeing the opportunity to get some more kills on the Jazz, could potentially be looking for something else. The Rod of Ages, the healing, it's looking pretty good. His first turret falls on the bot side. Lyle Walt getting a little dangerous here, a little bit low on health. Does have the ultimate available to him. Crucially, he did not use it just yet. As well played response on the bot side. I really love this heads up play here from Coach and Control to be able to make that dive work. And one person that we haven't talked about either is Clover, right? Clover was the one who really set that up. As hold that thought here. Lyle Walt says absolutely not to the tower. Jazz thinks he's safe. He's absolutely not. It's
Dunked
top
on.
kingdom here for Lyle Walt on the top side, and that bear is starting to get very scary.
Yeah, and it's just the same image over and over that we're seeing here in the top lane. But one thing that happened bot lane was they had an idea that their top lane, oh my god, Sandy's gonna die here. Excellent shuffle, gets him out of there. Well
I literally
done.
just went to take a drink and Sandy tried making something happen and just barely escaped with his life, so.
Yeah, but yeah, Rick, a little bit earlier there, Rick,
Rick is actually trying to go in
no
there,
man's land now, yeah.
Yeah, but now Silas has the ultimate of Amumu now. So
true, that's
a little scary. Now this fight actually turns on its head because Control has so much agency, and we have to also remember the increased AP ratios that Silas has as well when he steals an ultimate. This is one thing that a lot of players forget, and they're always like, "Oh my goodness, like why did that do so much damage? You know, it's a utility spell." Well, Silas is building full AP. Yeah, Silas is building full AP, and he has extended ratios on top of it.
Exactly. So it's going to be on old Greg to try and cleanse his team out of the Amumu ult, but Jazz TPing in, I wonder if they still want to contest this dragon. He does not have Mordekaiser ult, but it's going to be a tough one to contest regardless of Controls on a flank.
It's actually good though, because the mid lane is pushed up, and here we go, Clove saying, hello, I'm starting this fight off. Coach, excuse me, gets right onto Boobly. There's not a whole lot done, but he's able to get that kills. Now Greg is in trouble, but crucially, Lyle Walt is also available. He is on a rampage. He's running straight to Coach. They actually are able to fight on two fronts, as now Microscopic Greg looking for just a little bit of damage, trying to save Greg. It's a double kill now for Lyle Walt on the other side. It is now a 3v3. Speedy Bandito is crucially up, but there is Sandy Snake as well for the
he's so
damage,
fast.
as Lyle Walt is just running towards them. The Death Realm now trying to fight Lyle Walt on two fronts, and here comes the curtain call. One shot, two shot, trying to get some damage onto Greg. It's a shot. Oh my goodness, right out of the Death Realm. It's a shutdown now for Speedy Bandito. Is he able to get any damage? Does get the Dark Harvest proc off. Here comes the fourth shot. It's a double kill now for him. Does he have the flash available to try to make this play? I don't believe he will be able to get it done. The W does not fall, does not land as well. And I just want to talk about real quick, just real quick, just to get this off my chest. The timing on that curtain call shot from Speed Bandito was a masterclass.
It was perfect.
It was the perfect timing, the absolute perfect timing to get Lyle Walt and to get that really crucial shutdown for him, because that's so much gold going to that Jhin.
It ends up being an extended 4 for 3, and that's the. It's not quite done extending yet, because this fight is still going around this jungle, and Lyle does have the TP, and he's going to come. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Sandy Snake TP coming in right now, and Lyle has 2 items. He's going to match control, and I think they're going to get the dragon.
They're actually just going to TP in and get the dragon. Okay, so even after that fight goes bad for them, they just had the better heads-up macro play, and they were able to take that dragon. So Navorian Quick Blades now online for Lyle Walt. That bear is going to be attacking fast and is going to be able to slam you a lot. It's just going to be pressing Q over and over and over. Sandy Snake went with mid, and he's actually starting to get back into this game a little bit. He was able to get a lot of gold when they sent that Rift Herald bid and got those 2 towers out of it. So he should be starting to escalate a little bit more, but definitely still all eyes on Lyle Walt. Yeah, Lyle Walt does have the Void Grubs available to him as well, so going to be able to get just a little bit of chip damage on that turret. But that was a lot of damage that Control had right there, as now lane assignment's going to be swapping. Sandy Snake going to be taking that top lane. But that Volley Bear is huge, man. Even after that fight, like, that Jhin is really strong and is starting to get into Collector now. But man, that Volley Bear, so much damage just now. Sandy Snake could be in a little bit of trouble here. Almost barely gets it, but the ultimate does come out. The all available for Control does the Chain Lash. The ultimate, the tower now coming out, but he's not long for this world. Coach is going to be able to get in there and turn the lights off, as here comes Lyle Walt. That bear is so big, gets a slam dunk under Control, and now the fight is all his. It's a beautiful root from Speedy Bandito, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to save his support. It is a double kill now for Lyle Walt in the top lane, and how in the hell are you going to stop this guy?
Yeah, he is definitely the difference maker in this game. He is doing so much damage, and they're looking for the Baron. Coach is doing his jungle. They have no idea that this is happening right now, even though they walked over a ward into this area. This might be something where they just accept that it's gone.
They can't do anything. There's no curtain call available. There is no ultimate available for Coach either. There is just nothing for them. They have to just concede this. They might be going for it. It's just so psychotic from both of them. Coach just dies immediately. Microscopic Rick just gets a beautiful bandage toss.
Speedy.
He just threw the damn game away.
Why are you there? Why did he go in the pit with him? What an absolute madman.
Duality of man coming out here from the side of TSH. I have no clue why they thought that was the good call.
I just can't believe. I mean, Coach, I get it. You like, we don't want to concede this objective. I'm just gonna go in and try and look for a steal, but Jhin going in as well, just absolute mad behavior.
There's no way that was actually the call there. As the Sandy Snake now just gonna get pulled in a little bit, actually going into the death row. But here comes Boobly. He's actually just gonna be looking and standing, but Sandy Snake just gets absolutely obliterated. As now Boobly trying to get some damage down, gets a slam dunk on himself there, as here comes Lyle Walt, the man of the hour, a beautiful enchanted crystal arrow. He knows that Jazz is dead, so he's going straight for Control, the man with the chains, and he's actually is going to be able to escape. So
yeah, the item situation in the top lane is completely out of control. He now has MR, and he's over a full item out ahead of this Mordekaiser.
Hold on a second. Lyle Walt actually getting 3 people on him. A huge slam here. Is he going to be able to get one? The answer to that question is yes.
No, he's healing.
A double kill now.
There's
just so much damn healing from the side of Lyle Walt. I cannot believe this. There's just, how do you do this, man? Like, there's no grievous wounds. Actually, yes, there is, and it's on Mordekaiser, but it's just not enough. Like, this
bear is just walking into them and daring them to literally do anything to him. It's absolutely insane, and he's doing so much damage in the meantime. Like, you would think that Silas Nocturne, and I wanted to touch on Nocturne itemization because it's a little bit odd going the Hexplate first. We pretty much always see Strybreaker first on this champion, but I'm wondering if that's almost a little bit of a difference where he doesn't quite have the damage to be able to kind of finish some of these kills, but you would nonetheless still think that Silas Nocturne would have enough damage in that situation, but it's clearly not enough. It's crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, this is literally Stat Stick the champion, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing
That's too accurate.
We are witnessing this
the Spear
absolute
Visage.
monstrosity of a champion in the hands of a fantastic player and Lyle Wall. I mean, the dude literally just has to stand there and then the rest follows. The dude, like, that's all he's got to do. He's got to right-click once. He could literally sit back. He could probably make a sandwich in the time that it takes for them to try to at least kill him, but there's just so much healing. There's so much CDR with the Navori Quick Blades. He now has Anima Visage available to him. And it's just, or Anima Visage, excuse me, Spirit Visage. What was I thinking there? Where's Anima Visage come from? What am I thinking there? Is that from TFT?
I have no, I'll be honest.
I think it
I
is.
don't know what that is.
It's from, yeah, it's definitely a TFT reference I just made.
Is
Lyle Wall
TSL.
actually going to be in the 2v2 here. The Death Realm is available, but does have the ult. Yeah, actually, there's a lot of CC. I actually don't think. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Lyle Wall is just does so much healing.
Oh,
he's actually going to kill them both here. It's not even close. Lyle Wall now with
got a little
4
greedy.
people onto him. There's just so much that he gets one, but it's a crucial shutdown for Speedy Bandito. Dude, it took 4 of them to kill this guy.
He got a
and
little
they could
greedy.
For it.
He actually may have been able to turn 2 at least, because he let a little greedy and went for the Mordekaiser when he probably could have just one-tapped Coach in front of him, who is extremely squishy at the moment. But it's still just disgusting what had happened up there in the top lane.
Dude, it took 4 people. It took 4.
Yeah, and that's not even an exaggeration. He just kept that fight going for forever.
And speaking of itemization, Kraken Slayer now available for Coach. I'm not sure if this is the item that you want on this champion currently. Like we were talking about the Stride Breaker being extremely valuable. I like the Hexplate idea. I think that's pretty cool. I just don't think that Kraken Slayer, you know, your whole champion archetype is to try to stick on these players. I think Stride Breaker is the item that makes you do that. I don't think it's Kraken.
I mean, traditionally, what people generally do.
Hold on a second. Enchanted Crystal Arrow right on the Speedy Bandito. Does have to use the cleanse immediately, but now we have Clover on the backside. The Curtain Call is available. Misses 1 shot, as now Control is now getting in the hands of the fight. Coach also getting in there. It's a shutdown on a Boobly. Actually, Lyle Wall is now here and available. He is so damn scary. A beautiful
the Zero damage.
Oh my goodness, he has Zero damage. The bandage toss from Microscopic Rick. There's just no way. There's no damage to kill this Volibear, and even if you think you have it, he just heals back up to full in like 0.5 seconds.
Where's the Grievous Wounds? Where's the Grievous Wounds? You have Warmogs on Maokai and no other Grievous Wounds available in this video game besides the Bramble on the Mordekaiser. Like, what are your itemization choices? And to answer the question in Twitch chat, that generally you go Stride Breaker into the Hexplate and usually something like Black Cleaver or something like that. But like, this ain't it. Like, the itemizations just are not there against Emilio, Volibear, and Ashe. Like, you have people that are healing. Like, you need to have that healing reduction available to you.
Yeah, say it with me, chat. Grievous Wounds is the name of this game. I definitely think that, you know, Thornmail is on the dockings for at least 2 of these champions. I think Molar Reminder is actually a pretty sound item currently for the Jhin. So, you know what? Everyone just build Grievous Wounds. Even if it doesn't stack, who cares? Just build it at this point. I mean, and even then, AI Box, I don't think that the Grievous Wounds are going to be able to kill him anyways.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, now it's completely out of control.
So.
But, like, I think that makes a difference in that last fight. Like, you just have someone that is reliably applying it to the entire enemy team. You probably kill Microscopic Rig. You probably kill Sandy. I don't know. Lyle Wall might be lost cause at this point. I don't know if you can necessarily.
Yeah, speaking of Sandy Snake, Control actually is going to be able to get on him. He does miss the Chain Lash.
Nice
Sandy Snake with beautiful reaction time, going to be able to use the Shurima Shuffle, the ultimate, to be able to get himself out of that sticky situation. As now Jazz just walks into the face of death, and that death's name is Lyle Walt. He's going right back in with an Avoid Quick Blades, excuse me. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow does go wide, and Baron, as you just said, is right on the cards.
Exactly, and this is the game plan. This is how it's going. They finally get some bounties bot, but Baron is gone. It is dead.
Curtain Call does come out though. Could be a potential steal. Lyle Walt is positioning himself right in front of everybody. This is so good. The team needs to be able to back him up. Right now, he's 1v4ing, but it's not going to matter. Boobly's just a little bit late. He's at, wait, hold on a second. He's just throwing himself now. Lyle Walt thought he had his team behind him, but unfortunately he didn't. It's just a shutdown and a throwaway. So Uh, he gods can bleed, apparently, AI Box. They are
Yeah,
immortal.
you just got to get the CC at the right moment when the rest of the team can't see what's going on in a 1v4 situation. So, good thing that that's clearly what's probably going to happen in every single team fight. That was excellent. That was a really good look. At least they were able to get the shut down over onto the Volibear. But hey, Baron's gone. We're going to be looking at yet another dragon very very soon in about 1 minute. So it's going to be something where as soon as Volibear is up, they're going to try and force objectives, hopefully force some lanes. There's no TPs available, so I imagine it's probably just going to be a dragon setup. But it's like I don't know how TSH are able to play this game if they are able to if they are in a straight up 5-on-5 fight. This Volibear is just going to run on over you. So they did exactly what they needed to do, which is just gang up on him and try and get him off the map first. And then hopefully they can make the rest of the team fight somewhat playable.
Absolutely. Microscopic Rick potentially looking for a play here. Does get that little bit of a spell shield off immediately there of Clover, as now they're actually looking for a play here on the Sandy Snake. He's actually caught out, but he might not actually be caught out, as now he does actually get the kill under control. That's a very crucial kill onto him, as Lyle Walt is just starting to march in. He is now in the fight. Microscopic Rick gets coach as well. Jazz is in the death row, but it's not even going to matter. The rest of the team is right there. And Speedy Bandito, the last man standing in this game, it is him versus Lyle Walt, and I think Lyle Walt loves those odds.
Yeah, I think Bear beats edgy.
Bear beats gun.
Yeah, yeah. Bear beats edgy performance artist gun. Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a tough one for Speedy to try and hold this one. He's like barely even doing damage.
Yeah, there's
He's
Lyle Wall. He's
not
gonna
doing
flash
damage.
right onto him. Speedy Bandito gonna have to flash out of that. Gets the cleanse done. No, it's really not gonna matter. I mean, this dude's got Navori quick.
Oh my
plates.
god, he just
Look
is
at
taking
this guy.
3 towers.
Dude, it's
Oh,
just
wait.
it's
I
unreal.
didn't even realize. Yeah, Jin has Berserker's Grease.
Yes,
Speedy
he
quicker
does,
again.
and
Oh,
you
no.
know he's going that for the extra damage on his passive and also the movement speed, but it's not even gonna matter, dude. I mean, like,
No,
look at this
yeah.
champion, this monstrosity of a stat stick champion. There's just so much happening here on the side of
boy.
SOS, and dude, I gotta be honest with you, man. This is pretty much all she wrote for this one. I
Yeah.
really don't see a way that TSH is going to be able to come back from this. Lyle Walt is just too damn strong. There is nothing they can do. I mean, we also have been kind of quiet here about how much Greg has been doing in this game. 17 assists and only 1 death. Having the Ardent Sensor and the Moonstone Renewer available to him as well. So on top of the fact that Lyle Walt is kind of just sitting there queuing everyone on repeat and just hitting them with auto attacks and healing for 1,000,000 health a second.
Now he's gonna have even more attack speed.
Exactly, he's got even more attack speed, he's got even more healing, he's got even more shielding, and also, by the way, his auto attacks have extra reach and can burn you.
Yeah,
so there's just
it's
there's
just
so
gonna
much.
be a complete wash if they try to take a fight head on. And in that last team fight, Control didn't get to play the game. He got stunned up and he died. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it. He got stunned and he was no longer on the map. So if they need anything to happen, it's the Control to hopefully get a huge removal and on a flank. But it's been a hard ask so far in this video game.
Absolutely, it's looking like it's going to be the last fight here. Lyle Walt's ultimate is available, can turn the tower off, very crucial, we have to remember that as now the Twisted Advance comes out, the curtain call to follow, it'll be 3 shots on a Lyle Walt, but it's just, look at that, Jazz is going to be able to throw Microscopic Rick into the, he's losing it to Microscopic Rick as well, the bandage toss comes out, Lyle Walt is right there on the chase, Crypto Bloom to proc as well, as now here we go, Lyle Walt ulting into the back, it's a double kill now for Boobly on the backside, Lyle Walt's just literally taunting them, healing so much into the tower. Look at all that shielding. A beautiful Shurima shuffle from Sandy Snake. Ladies and gentlemen, that is literally all she wrote for this series. Snake Oil Salesman gets a beautiful win in week number 3.
Oh my goodness, just talk about running over a game. They gave him an inch and they took an absolute mile. As soon as Lyle was able to build up his lead, we saw solo kill after solo kill in the top lane, and it just became an absolute disaster. Every time they wanted to do something, there was a bear there to make sure they weren't able to do it, and that is just about the damage graph we expect. There's something that to be said for one player that can take over to the game and change exactly what your team does, but also force the entire other team to look at you and plan around you. And I'm not sure there's another player in the league that does it quite like Lyle Walt does it.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself, brother. I mean, just take a look at that damage graph. production, am I able to see the healing done this game? Is that a possibility? I would like to see that real quick. Healing done, something like that. Damage taken and healed, something like that. Yeah. Like, oh my goodness. Like, actually, a lot of healing there, probably from Smite. But once again, like, look, 13,000 healing on those items, right? Like, that's just so much. He literally was just able to sit there and just auto, and then always have Q on repeat, and always have E on repeat, and the dude he just can't die. It
Yeah.
is stat stick the champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So AI box, I gotta be honest with you, man. I think we both know who our player of the series is gonna be, and it'll be
I
none other than Mr. Lyle Walt. So with 50,000 damage to boot, an incredible series played by him. Let's get him in here for a quick little interview before we sign things off this evening. Lyle Walt, the man of the hour, the man who said, you know what? I'm going to play a champion that literally sits there and auto attacks, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Welcome.
I do just want to ask, can you bring Greg up as or not? I meant Tiny Rick. Can you bring Tiny Rick up as well? He
Yeah.
played it phenomenally.
He
That
was a beast.
Absolutely.
level 1
Absolutely.
or level 3, he that gank where I got the kill.
Yeah,
I
that was all on him. That was all on him.
I outright stated, "Rick, have my children," like unironically. So yeah, like that would have fucked the game if I like if that play went differently, that game would have
Yeah. And that was
yeah.
so.
He had some
so
insane
close.
ults as well. Like I didn't see
sure.
one, but he said he got a cracked asshole when I TP'd in on the fight in mid lane. So
Well, who better to have your children than Tiny Rick? I mean,
yeah,
good lord, man. Just, both of you played an absolutely phenomenal series, and I'm so excited to have you both in here, because one of the things that we were talking about on broadcast, we all obviously, Lyle, what we know, you're a phenomenal player. I don't mean to glaze. It's no secret that you are one of the better top laners in the league. That's been the general consensus. Obviously, every player has a weak point, but one of your general strengths is that you are an incredibly good laner, and you know when you're strong, and you know that you can carry games. That's really important. But one of the things that we also were highlighting on broadcast was the strength and the growth of Tiny Rick as a player. I mean, this dude from season 1 to season 8, every single TCL season this dude has played in, he has improved and he has become an unstoppable force in this league. Like, the man is willing to make those confident plays, those 2v2 saving plays where you just get in there and you help your team and you're confident that you're able to turn that fight and situation around. It's commemorable, and I absolutely loved the 2v2, the top jungle synergy that you guys had in this series. So bravo to both of you. Very well played. Even if your champion is absolutely broken. So
hey man, I
That was
think
great.
Camille is more broken than Volibear is. I'll be honest.
I would agree, but I looked at that build and I literally thought, like,
Yeah.
this build
I mean,
works.
Speaking kind of like going into it, I mean, game one obviously kind of like snowballed on you guys a little bit, but kind of going into game two with all the champion draft nonsense that we had kind of had. But what was kind of the game plan? Was it just like, I think Camille's the pick. Let's play through Camille. Let's play through top side. Make sure we kind of
So
get these grubs so I can split push. What was kind of the move there?
so game 1, we thought that Trundle was top lane. So we
Oh,
locked
yeah.
Jax as the counter pick because Camille was banned. And or no, Camille was banned, so we picked Jax, and then I got the joy of playing Jax versus Malphite, which is you don't do anything, you just sit there and chill for 30 minutes and
It's
then
not
lose.
interactive. Yeah.
So there wasn't much I could do. I couldn't get a lead. It's just functionally impossible. And so game 2, we snapped up the Camille when they locked in Trundle, and then for some reason they sent Trundle top. I don't know why. They should have sent it jungle again and locked in some other champ.
Sure.
But and then game 3, I mean, I blind picked because it was left open.
Yeah. And I think when you kind of change the draft as you have with like making sure that like they have to be sending bans your way, whether it's first phase or second phase, I think it kind of gives you a little bit of that flexibility. But like Tiny Rick on the Rammus pick against the Yi, I think that was kind of the highlight of that game too, for sure.
Yeah.
It's not every
Um,
day you get to see a Rammus in TCL. So
yeah, yeah.
We're
Was
picking
that
nearly every week.
were you guys kind of baiting the Yi pick, or did you know that was coming, or what?
We wanted Yi, but we kind of forgot about it. I'll be honest. We kind of just forgot about it in game 2, but we were fine with it because we had Rammus. Our plan was if Yi gets locked in, we lock in Rammus. And so
Totally.
when they
Yeah,
banned
we saw that
Rammus in
happen.
game 3, we just insta banned Yi.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and then game 3, putting him on the old Amumu, the old faithful. That was something that really worked out. We were a little worried about what might happen early game, but man, Rick with some really awesome plays really made it happen.
Thanks,
Yeah.
guys. I guess I could pitch in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to piggyback off. Well, first off, Toasty, thanks for the kind words, man. You have a way with words. I'm kind of upset I didn't get to listen to you cast because I know you usually cast good. Eric, you as well. Of course, I gotta address you by your name because we share a name.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, piggyback off what Lyle said. I really think that for game 2, I personally wanted to get rid of the Ari because that was pretty strong, and I mean the damage draft kind of or the damage graph kind of
We-
showed it.
No, ignore what he was just saying. We were just taking part in the ban Ari hashtag ban Ari, so he didn't
Correct.
get to use his skin again. That was the only reason. It wasn't because we got fucking stumped.
Redditors everywhere rejoice.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Hashtag ban Ari. Hashtag ban Ari. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had the
I like
skin.
that.
If you guys didn't notice, he did actually have it.
No, he did. Yeah, but crucially, it was not the $500 version.
No,
it was the
it
$300
was.
version.
Okay, it was a $300. Okay, it's still he had it.
Yeah,
Which is
He didn't have the
that's so
signature.
funny.
that is funny though.
I can't do it. But I mean, clearly you guys had a game plan. Clearly you guys had a formula for how you wanted to play the game, and that was honestly just an amazing comeback to turn over from that game 1 and then make game 2 and 3 happen in the way that they did. You just looked more and more dominant as the series went on. Toasty, you got anything else?
That seems to be our memo. Is we get stomped game 1, then we barely win game 2, and then we just shit on them game 3.
I
If
know
we
how that
win.
is, man. I know how that feels. Definitely, you could take it from me. But yeah, I mean, you guys played fantastically. I'm really glad to have you both on the cast. I think you guys had an absolute banger of a series. It was just a bloodshed all around from both sides, and I was really entertained watching and casting all of it. And I wish you guys the best of luck next week with your
Thank
your
you.
opponents. Absolutely.
One more thing. I want to give a shout out, obviously, for I'm old Greg. I thought he also played out of his mind. His Milio games were incredible. He saved me. He saved everyone a couple times. So yeah,
I don't know how
honestly
he
think
did
he
it.
might have deserved it tonight, but I appreciate
I
being in here.
don't know how he did it. I could not see because of the Nocturnal. But in that dragon fight where me and Sandy ran down the 2 up towards Baron, he somehow got away from a Nocturnal. Can't tell you how.
He kept Rick away alive for way longer than he should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how he got out of it, but he got out of it, and that was insane. I could not see it though. The Nocturnal was making plays that I wish I could have seen, not visible.
Absolutely, and shout out to Boobly as well. I mean, had a little bit of a whimper in game 1, but definitely showed the Ash prowess in games 2 and 3. I was very, very happy and impressed with what I saw with that adaptation. I thought you guys played exceptionally well as a unit, and you guys are certainly poised to lift that season 8 trophy at the end of the season. So
I hope.
really awesome, great game, guys. Do you guys have
Thank you.
anything else before we sign off tonight?
Obviously, good games to the opponents. Everybody, I thought, played well. Control obviously went off in the first game. So did Music. So did Speedy. I mean, they all played really good. So good games to them. Thanks for playing.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate your guys' time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this absolute banger of a series, AI Box. I'll tell you what, man, that was certainly
awesome.
one of the more exciting series that we've had. It seems to be when Lyle Walt and SOS is in the game, you're absolutely down for a banger, whether it be with Kale or whatever the hell I just saw tonight with the Volley Bears. So
Exactly. Just the man you apparently can't ban out like that, and it's always fun when you're prepared for 2 games, but then you get 3 just absolute fun ones, and I think that's what we got tonight.
Absolutely. And dude, this season's just been an absolute banger. There's so many like bloodthirsty games in season 8 so far, and I'm so excited to see how things are looking as we head into playoffs here in just a couple weeks time. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, we will see you guys tomorrow with another absolute killer series. And thank you all so much for watching. You have a fantastic night. Take care.